I might as well get this started. All right. I'm echoing. I'm echoing, eh? That is interesting. Because that should not be happening. I wouldn't say echoing. So what you're saying, though, is the sound quality is bad. Because that is a problem. Okay. Well, I guess I might as well go out of the video. American Tank, hey. That's funny. I've done that before numerous times. Hey, everyone. Thanks for the random Wednesday hangout. I don't know. I was sitting here. I didn't have much else going on. I'm flying out tomorrow or Friday for Miami. And, yeah, I am. Okay, good. Good. Before I do anything else, like a couple things. One, I'm hoping to talk with some folks tonight, bring in some other guests to chat for a little bit. Katie might join me later, actually. But also, if you have any questions about the DLC, thoughts on it, like behind the scenes stuff, what goes on commentating or anything like that, let me know. More than happy to answer them. I am also still exhausted. But first order of business, before I do anything else, Scott, since you're here, I waited until after the DLC to open your card because I wanted that like post DLC, like, I don't know, a little bit of post DLC magic. And it's, well, little backstory for everybody first. Like, if you didn't see the reel or some of my other content, where I've started to collect like signed cards from people, because people occasionally ask me to sign cards, and it occurred to me that I'd like some signed cards back from the community, and it helps me like remember interactions and things like that. So I started asking people, hey, sign your favorite card, tell me the story behind it, and that way I have like a memory associated with you in that card in the moment in the DLC, etc. And a bunch of people took me up on it, which is very exciting. I have a box. It's actually in my room that I need to unpack and put in my binder. But Scott gave me a very nice note, and Scott, this was the perfect card for you to sign. One of Scott, aka Cypher 1000, and Vox Lorcana's favorite taglines is "Lorcana means family," playing on the Ohana thing. And Scott signed "Look at this family," and wrote one of. Or first rather, and left me a very nice note. So Scott, I appreciate that. I also appreciate nice stationery. I always have nice stationery on hand, and this is delightful, Scott. So thank you so much. Trevelyan, yeah, hit me up next time. I've got a binder I'm going to fill up. I got we get all these binders from all the gift boxes and stuff. And I've got a small one that I'm going to fill up with signed cards. So anyway, yeah, so it's good. I think I have like 12 or 13 signed cards now from folks. And it's just kind of special. So, yeah, that's cool. So, so if you ever see me anywhere, feel free to sign your favorite card or a card that has a story behind it. And, I'll throw it in my binder, and maybe at the end of the year, we'll go through them. And full disclosure, I took this idea from Villain, except he's doing all like, it's not World's Greatest Criminal Mind. It's something in that vein that he's asking people to sign. But if you gave him any signed card with a villain theme to it, I'm sure he'd enjoy it. Yeah, J. Viveris, I appreciate yours. It was a good one. I'd show it off. It's the box of cards I think is in my bedroom though, and my office is an absolute disaster. And even getting to the door right now is a problem. So, you all get the the view where it looks kind of nice, sort of, even though shelves are too high. Yeah, you could do Be Prepared, Trevelyan. Wait a second, Robbie C. Giving. Okay, Robbie C. in the comments says, he had a moment where he played against someone who also had a signed Liam card in their deck. We took a quick pause to talk about our Monday night ritual of watching. That is probably like one of the coolest stories. That's a super cool story. I appreciate that so much. Most diabolical scheme. That's what it was. It's a weird thing, when you talk about that story, Robbie, about you running into somebody and you share the story about Monday nights, because like for us, we see some numbers on Monday night and there's about 10 people in the chat, usually like chatting, maybe 15. And then there's a whole bunch of people who watch on replay, and I don't know, to have somebody beyond like those 10 folks come up and tell you that they watch on Monday nights is pretty cool. I don't know. Cause there's so many cool, podcasts and shows to watch. There's so much good content out there. There's Podcana. There's, all sorts of live streams. And so the fact that people like choose to watch this is kind of neat. I think it's all because of Logan. So I give it all to Logan. How am I doing after the exhausted DLC, says Aiden. I am still exhausted. I have a problem at DLCs where I like hanging out with folks. So we'll get done for the day at about, like the earliest we'll get done for the day is like 10 or 10:30 usually. And after that, it's back to the hotel. And sometimes I've missed dinner. And so I go grab a bite to eat, and I like to hang out with the casting team or other people from the community. So I go to bed at around midnight or a little after, and then I have to get up at about 6 or 7. And so I take terrible care of myself. And as a result, Monday, I'm just absolutely destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. It's terrible. So if you ever see me hanging out in the lobby at like 11:30 or 11 during a DLC, tell me to go to bed. Like straight up, just be like, Liam, go to sleep right now. And I probably will. I need that push. Here's another fun thing. Here's another fun behind the scenes story. So at DLCs now, they've done a really great job of providing us lunch. And it goes into a room, and Rich is not an easy town to get dinner in either. So many things shut down early. Yeah. So they do a great job of giving us meals, and as you would expect. And there's a room usually where the meals are located, and they cater them. And there's like box lunches for lunch, and sometimes for dinner they have like a buffet thing. The problem is that you have to get them kind of on your schedule. And when you're commentating, when we're not in the booth, so we're one of several stations. We're either in the booth, where you see us, or we're getting set up for a lounge segment, or we're on standby to do interviews as players come off the tables. And if we're not doing one of those things, we might be prepping, or we might be, on the floor trying to get information and stuff. So when you don't see us, we're like still working in one of those other like areas. And this weekend, it just so happened that hey, Aaron. Okay. Half and half. Okay, never mind. Okay. Aaron ordered groceries, and Nestor picked them up. What was I saying? Okay, so lunches. So it just so happened in Richmond, and this actually happened in Milwaukee as well, where a meal was served, like the lunch was served right as I was going into the booth for a 2-match stint. And so it'd be like noon, lunch gets there, and I'm going in the booth, and a match is like over an hour usually between rounds. So I'm going in the booth, and I'm not getting done till I'm not getting out of there till like 2:30 or 3. And then I come out and I've got other stuff to do. So like both times my schedule was thrown all off because I didn't get to eat lunch until about 3:30 or 4 on Sunday or Saturday or both. and it throws you all off. So you have to have snacks and things to like keep you going, because you've got a lunch window and you've got normal times to eat, but when you're in the booth or you're doing stuff, like your schedule could be completely off of the meal schedule, which is, I don't know, it's a challenge. And then the other challenge is, and it's a great challenge. Like this is not a complaint. This is an observation. The meals are usually on the other side of the convention center. So to get from the booth to where the food is and then back, I've got to cross the convention floor. And that can take time for two reasons. One, I want to talk to people. Like I see other players and other people I know, and I want to ask how their day is, and I want to like stop and chat. And then, hey, thanks so much for the follow. That means a lot. So I want to stop and chat with people, right? And I want to see how they're doing, ask about their day, ask about how their matches are going. And then also people want to talk to me. And so like even getting across the floor to the food and getting back is can be like a 30-minute experience, because you never want to be rude. And like if people want to chat or talk to you, like I want to stop and hear how people's days have gone. So it's not a complaint, it's just an observation. And yeah, anyway, these are commentator problems. Yeah, so catching up with some of the comments, the convention food wasn't, well, at least the food that I had wasn't bad. So yeah, and Inkplay Pass says the convention food wasn't bad, so does Aiden. That's great. I didn't have a chance to try it, but it's good that it wasn't too bad. Scott says, at least you didn't have to go out of the hall to the on-demand room and dodge the rehearsing cheerleaders on the hallway. Yeah, I always think it's funny when we get put into convention centers where there's multiple conventions going on, because I always wonder what the other conventions think about what we've got going on, right? Like we have our own opinions about cheerleading conventions, or at like PPG Summit in Denver, there was like a wellness convention, and like we're like, okay, they're doing, I don't know, stuff. But I always wonder what the other conventions think when they walk past the Lorcana space. It just kind of cracks me up. But though that'll never beat sharing a hall. Like any Atlanta vets here from the first DLC, when we shared a convention center with MomoCon, which I didn't know about before I went there. And it was, I've since learned, it is like one of the biggest anime conventions in the world, maybe? At least the country? And so it was absolutely wild, because as you're going to the Lorcana Hall, which was like in the basement below it, the Atlanta Convention Center, you were walking through the most outrageous cosplay and the most outrageous like groups of, it was everybody living their best life. It was wild. But yeah, I loved it very much. I mean, the cheerleaders had to dodge our cosplayer, says Rules of Villainy. Absolutely. Yeah. Inkplay Pass. Oh my gosh, it was wild. I remember finding a hallway full of people LARPing when I was looking for a restroom. Yeah. I mean, I love it. Vendors there. Yeah, it's up there with Anime Expo. Okay. I'm just not familiar with anime cons. So. Dan Pulse Pax, it was great seeing Richmond too. I did make it home safe. It was actually a pretty good travel day, although I have this thing now where when I travel, I miss Olena and Aaron like terribly, especially now that Olena's old enough to realize when I'm gone. And it makes me sad. So what that means is when I travel home, I try to salvage part of a day. I would rather leave and fly out at like 5 a.m. or 7 a.m. and get home midday and then have that day with Olena than fly out at like 10 or 11, like at responsible time, and get home at like, 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. So for that reason, and that's pretty much habitual now. So for that reason, I flew out of Richmond at 7:20. And I went to bed at 2:30, and that means I had to get up at like 4:30. So I slept for about 2 hours before I flew out. So it was a nice safe trip back, but I was exhausted, and it backfired because I felt awful the next day. So again, all this is to say, when you see me in the lobby at like 11 p.m. or midnight, tell me to go to bed, and I will probably listen to you. I just need somebody to be my conscience. I just need somebody to come in Jiminy Cricket like and tell me, hey, Liam, remember last time? Like, you should shuffle off to bed. Yeah, Eric, I agree. Yeah, he says the look on my boy's face when I picked him up from school on Monday was worth the lack of sleep. I'm right there with you. It's just yeah, you know, especially when your kids are old enough to remember or to realize that you're missing. It's kind of yeah. So, but you know, I hope one day, in like, I don't know, 5 years, when Elena gets to Lily's age, she'll enjoy traveling to these things with me and, you know, enjoy the convention and maybe play some Lorcana, and become the youngest DLC winner or a Lorcana artist. I don't know. One of the two. That's the goal. So yeah. So if you all had any questions about the weekend, or you have a favorite memory, like what was the best part of the weekend for you, let me know. I'm going to wait to chat with Katie in a bit, and I'm going to pull up, I'm going to see if the deck lists are up yet. Because I'm curious. I am curious. There's some really fun decks that I want to like dive into. So, getting to see your league. Who is your league mate, Fairy Queen Tink? I have to know. Because that's a lot of fun. Oh, that's funny. A funny story. Austin has a very, very good. Oh, Kane's your league mate. Okay. Austin has a pretty good Lorcana scene, and we have several players who've qualified for, Continentals. Some very, very good players, and there's a core group of about, you know, 8 or 9 folks who travel to the preponderance of the DLCs, and it's always fun for me seeing like my locals out there, even though I don't make it to locals as often as I should, or I want to, because of content and life and toddler and work and all the things. I still try to go when I can. But anyway, it's fun when I'm at the DLC to see that little slice of home there and to run into them. And I'm sure it's the same for all of you. Like Fairy Queen talking about seeing your league mate there. So I always enjoy seeing them and, you know, seeing how they're doing and making day 2 and, you know, chatting with them about the record, all that. Well, round 1, one of the best known Lorcana players here in Austin, one of the most well-connected and nicest and most awesome, Julia, is on stream and is paired into Diego Saz. And I was like, I thought it was funny. So feature match, and somebody asked me, they're like, hey, did you get Julia on stream? I was like, no, I didn't pull Julia on stream. We pulled Diego on stream, and she just happened to be matched into Diego. So, you know, round 1, you know, good friend from Austin here goes into a DLC winner. And it's the way to start a DLC, right? Is playing Diego Saz round 1. So I agree, Aiden. I agree. It would have been fun to see that. All right. Trevelin, I've got 2 set champs this weekend. Should I run Dogs or Blurple? My answer is, how much have you played Dogs? I think Dogs is a very, very good deck, but I think Dogs is tricky to pilot. So if you haven't played it a bunch, I would go with Blurple. It depends on how big your league is, and it depends on what your local meta is, but I do suspect if you have a particularly like competitive set champs where people are looking at the meta and adjusting and all of that, it is possible that people will adjust to how well both Blurple and Blue Green did at Richmond, because they both converted incredibly well. Amethyst Steel didn't convert quite as well, but that's because, I don't know, I think, you know, 25% of the room was playing it. But and so if you think that people are going to move into Blurple and Blue Green because of how it did at Richmond, then Dogs is not a terrible choice. But if it's a smaller room and, like, you know, if it's, 8, 9 people, if it's not super competitive, then dogs is fine as long as you've, got a few reps on it. So that's my answer. Hey, Aladdin's Castle. When's the vlog coming out? I'm waiting for the vlog already. I'm waiting for it already. I tried not to video bomb most of your interviews this weekend, but I did video bomb a couple accidentally, mostly. All right, catching up. The Young and Lumineers section to have a place for kids was really nice. I agree with that so much, Rules. Here's one of my observations from the weekend. And if you were at the DLC, I want to know if you agree. Perhaps it's been this way since the beginning, but I thought I saw way more kids there. And by kids, I mean young kids. I mean like strollers. I mean like families. I even saw a couple mothers playing with their kids, like, we're talking, 2-3 months old, like in their arms and playing Lorcana, one-handed, which I thought was so nice and so refreshing. And to have them be comfortable, to have those folks comfortable bringing their families and have players patient enough to allow, that to play those games, was really, really, really great. And so it seemed to me like there were a lot more young children there this time. Although I could be wrong. Maybe I just noticed it more now. But I thought that was really wonderful. And so, yeah, the Young Lumineers area was really nice. And actually, if you remind me all later, I've got a fun little souvenir from the Young Lumineers area that I really want to show off. I'm going to go get it in a few minutes because it's kind of hilarious. Best part of the weekend, watching your wife go 9-3. She was absolutely amazing with her blurb. But like, who is your wife? What was the Dan? I need to know. 9-3 is 1 win away from top cut. That's amazing. You have to let me know what what her RPH name is, because I'm fascinated. 9-3 is darn good. That's really impressive. Seeing our local Christian Castro make the top cut was pretty dope. I know Christian from somewhere. I'm not sure where I know Christian from. I know the name, and I'm trying to remember what tournament I know Christian from. Maybe PPG Dallas? I don't know. All right, catching up. Yeah, most have seen the Young Lumineers section being used. I agree, Jay Viveris. Like, I agree, and it was absolutely refreshing and lovely, and I hope they do it again. A Blurple Oswald mail day 2. I did not notice that. That's why I want to look at the deck list, because fantastic. Javer's talking about playing an 8-year-old in the starter deck side event. There was an 8-year-old, or 9-year-old rather, who was very, very close to top cut. Made day 2, won the first game on day 2, and then eventually lost one and was out. But we almost had a Milwaukee situation again. It was Kid Kana. He has actually a YouTube channel with a little alligator like logo. And yeah, made day 2. I think 9 years old, I think. Younger than Aiden. So I'm wondering if that's who you played, because it was fantastic. You love to see it. Okay, Fairy Queen Tink has a question. I have a question. Why would a player's interview not air? The biggest reason, so for those who don't know, like we often record more interviews and more content than gets used. We generally always record a winner's interview after games, and sometimes we'll record a loser's interview as well. We don't always do loser's interviews because sometimes it can be a little rough or kind of a bummer to ask a player to talk about their loss, and depending on how they're feeling, they may not be in the mood. But you'd be surprised how many players are actually keen to appear on camera and to talk about their deck and talk about their run, even if they lost. So if for me personally, if I'm standing waiting for an interview and I read a particular game where the player has an interesting deck, or they're really proud of their run, or perhaps it was an amazing game, or perhaps they're a well-known player and they just want to get on camera, I'll ask them, do you want to do like a quote-unquote loser's interview? And oftentimes I'll say yes. So what that means, though, is that any given round, you can have anywhere from 2 to 4 interviews. And oftentimes the interviews are cut for time, and that's really the biggest reason. Some of the time it's my fault because the interview will go too long. we had a really great interview that I recorded and I wanted to see, and behind the scenes it got cut. And I asked him, like, hey, can we air, like, any chance we can air this? It's a pretty good interview, like a good player, good deck. And they're like, Liam, your interview was 5.5 minutes long. And I was like, oof, yeah, okay. I get it. So it's a tough thing when you're on camera, because you want to, on the interview, you want to, like, there's certain things you want to ask about. You want to talk about why the deck, etc. And then sometimes when you get a player to talk about, like, competitive play lines or builds, they will go on for a while and you lose track of time when it's really interesting. So that's why an interview might not air. It's almost never for the content, because we're generally really good about coaching a player before an interview what they are and aren't allowed to say. But sometimes it's just cut for time. So, and I know it's always a bummer. We even had games cut for time. There's a really, like, I don't think, correct me wrong, but there was a burn deck that made top 32, and I don't think we ever saw it on camera because it did do a feature match, but because of the time in round and we were trying to catch up to the live, it was the backup match that round, and we actually never got to it, which was a huge bummer. So I don't think we ever got to see it played, which was huge. But it's recorded and it's there. So yeah. Let's see. I mean, we realize how much more time is needed for extra event to do for the attendees. Inking Juice says, I didn't realize I wasn't followed, but I definitely wanted to pop in and say, oh, thank you. So just saying how nice it was talking Amber Amethyst on Friday. You all are awesome. Like, it was a deck. I was happy to talk about it anyway, because Amber Amethyst was a deck that was definitely on my radar, as you saw on the channel. And so I appreciate you all letting me pick your brain. Here's another fun fact. Like, Friday is a lot of fun for me because I get to pick players' brains before the tournament. So I've already done all my research, etc. But what's going on in the room on Friday can help me a lot. So I will walk around and I will, not only want to meet people, but I will pick people's brains about why they're running certain builds, or, if they're bringing any spice, or what they think about a certain deck list. And a lot of times the quotes and the things that they say, I will take with me into the broadcast booth on Saturday and Sunday. So me going around and chatting with you is super fun for me, but also it's very, very helpful. And I consider it part of my research for Saturday and Sunday. So thank you for taking the time to talk to me, because it made me better. So I appreciate that. Dan Pulls Pack says her username, his wife who went 9-3, her username is Jen and Tonic, which is the best thing. That's the best. That's the best username. That's the best username. All right. Scott says, yeah, Castro from PBG Fort Worth. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, Scott brings up a great point. It's interesting. Scott says in the comments, the amount of very good, or the number of very good players who aren't making top cuts keeps getting longer and longer. And it is pretty incredible. It really occurred to me during the fantasy draft, because, some of you may remember I did a stream and Aiden jumped on and helped me out. And I made a list of like about 100 players who could be drafted. And some of these were, some of these were long shots, folks who were like on the bubble consistently. And some of them were like very, very well-known players. And all of these players I would have drafted, like all 100 of them. And then even during the draft, there's some very, very good players who did not get pulled up on teams. Scott Markson, and we all regretted it because Scott went on a heck of a tear. The North American Continental runner-up didn't get drafted. Fungus didn't get drafted. Fungus, a very good player who did very well in Milwaukee and should have been everybody's radar, like, didn't get drafted. Philippe Asselin didn't get drafted. Federico, and I can't do his last name, Marinan Federico. Federico didn't get drafted. So, like, yeah, it is really, really fascinating. The other interesting thing is when you look at the players who didn't make day two, is when you look at any given top cut, I know it can seem like Top Cut is a stretch, especially when you're trying to battle through all of these, teams and like world's qualified players and golden Mickey winners, etc. But when you look at the average Top Cut, how many of those, out of all the golden Mickey winners in the room, how many of those of the Top Cut were golden Mickey winners or world's qualifiers? Not a lot, right? And so it's really fascinating because what you find, I think, is that all of these world's players, all of these really good players are very consistent in that they will go generally like 8-4, 9-3. They're always in that range, like in bubble range, but it takes some luck to break through. And you always have people breaking through who you would consider long shots, including one this time, an Amethyst Steel player who Lorcana is his first TCG. Like on paper, you would think, if you look at his record, that he wouldn't stand a shot, but very, very good player and made the top 4. All that is to say, anybody can make the top cut. So anybody can make the top cut. There you go. All right. Lorcana Aiden, Genotonic. Playing the game, more is needed to do for the casuals. Oh, goodness, Tom Kita. Tom Kita says, playing the game is what it's all about, but more is needed to do for the casuals. A DLC almost needs its own convention with the learn-to-play areas, maybe a junior division league. This is a fascinating discussion, and we could do a whole video about this, honestly, because I tend to agree, and it's the reason I find that interesting is because I think that multiple people are more and more coming to this realization, because DLCs were originally designed as purely competitive events, and then side events are basically like, what do people do when they've bombed out of the tournament, right? And even on day one, you have some attendees there who are there +1, so they do some side events. But generally, it's like side events are because you could go to the tournament, go 0-3, drop, and then like, what do you do? But it is becoming very clear to me, and I think a lot of other people, that DLCs have become conventions, and that there are a lot of people who are even just pseudo-competitive or even casual players who want to go play Lorcana, even in the main event, or just hang out. And I'm no exception. Like, let's say hypothetically, I didn't get asked, I wasn't on the broadcast team, and, hypothetically, let's say, I couldn't get a competitor ticket. I would be perfectly happy to get an attendee badge and to just go chill. I would be perfectly happy to hang out for a few days and just visit with people and chill. I'll be quite honest. I would like to play in the main event, but yeah. So I don't know. Like I don't know what the answer is. I think perhaps, in the future, renting another hall. Like this time they had the 2 different halls, but renting another hall and adding more learn to play, adding like on demand. Can you imagine this? Like imagine on demand Palace Heist, where like there were like 30 Palace Heist boxes that you could borrow and you could grab, 3 friends and go Palace Heist, things like that, where you could just hang out and have a good time and play like Gen Con-esque would be really great. And I agree. All that is to say, Tom, that I really agree with you. Robbie C. Gaming Burn Deck went all the way to the top 8. Yes, it did. And it surprised the heck out of me. But the pilot was very good, and it did its thing. Tom Keaton, meeting the other casters while you were walking around was really special for everyone, in my opinion. Thank you. That means so much. That sentiment means more than you know, honestly, because it's a lot of work, and so we appreciate that we're appreciated, and every time somebody comes up and says hello, it means like everything. So thank you so much for that. It certainly takes skill to make the top cut, but also a little matchup and RNG luck, 100%, and that's why we play TCGs. It is interesting. So fun fact. So when you talk about matchup and RNG and all that, just as a fun example, just randomly, if you take a look at the bracket for the top cut, when they actually cut the top 16 or top 32, unless I'm mistaken, there were no dogs in the top half of the bracket, but there were 2 dogs in the bottom half. And there was also no Amethyst Steel in the top half of the bracket, but there was Amethyst Steel in the bottom half. So if you were playing like Blurple or, Blue Green, two matchups, which are okay for like Amethyst Steel. I know some people say Blurple has the edge. Some people say Amethyst Steel has the edge, depending on how good you are with the deck. But if you don't have dogs in your bracket and you're playing Blue Green, like, it feels pretty good. So like talking about, RNG and like luck and matchups, like 100% true. And it is very evident when you have a single player bracket and you can chart a deck's path to the finals. But even during the day, like, last question, it is really funny. Like, dogs are 10% of the room, right? And less than 10%, just under 10%. And the number of players I ran into who were like, man, I played dogs 4 times. I was like, you have the worst possible luck. I'm not a mathematician, but the odds of like a 10% chance thing happening like 4 times in a row it's low, as K2SO would say, it's low. So it's really funny. I'm like, man, you ran into 9% of the room 4 times. That's awful. Yeah, I should have been drafted. Aiden says I should have been drafted. I definitely didn't go 3 through drop. Aiden, one of these days I'll pick you up. Hey, oh, a milkshake. Amazing. Aaron is the best. I didn't even ask for a milkshake, but I just got a random milkshake delivery. And it's vanilla, which is objectively the best flavor of milkshake. I don't care what anybody says. Vanilla is the best milkshake flavor. It's true. All right. 004 said Kid Kana sat next to him round 1. Oh no, the burn deck. Okay. Yeah. All right. I feel like that'd be great for Continentals or Worlds. Make it a huge event for spectators with side events and people not competing. 100% agree. I agree, Scott. Like, I think it's becoming more apparent. There's all sorts of barriers and things, but I think it's becoming more apparent, and I hope it is. And I think we just keep beating the drum that, these are a place where people want to go and just see people. It occurs to me too, like the DLCs, right? Like, there are, we're only 2,000 competitors and only like, I don't know, like 500 attendees, maybe 1,000. Let's say 1,000 just for kicks. So 3,000 people in the country can go to each one. And there's so many people now who I wouldn't consider it a DLC if they weren't there, because they're such integral parts of the community and they're friends and they're people that I enjoy seeing every DLC that if they weren't to make it because they couldn't get a ticket, like, it wouldn't feel right. And the longer this game goes on, the more people I'm going to put in that category. And so it does feel like we need to find a way to get more people in. And I understand you can't expand the tournament per se. I'm not sure what I think about the 4,000 person like Ghent format. But at the very least, finding a way to expand the attendees to, especially the ability for families to go together. And we heard all about that. There's a whole thing we could talk about there, but that's a whole other thing. Trevelyan, I went to see how I stood against some of the best. And how did you finish, Trevelyan226? Sorry, I'm catching up on chat. Tom Kita says that this was my first DLC. How would you rate this event in comparison to others? Are these getting better? Yes. So every DLC is getting better. The one thing I would offer is that the switch from Season 1 to Season 2 it was another bit of a learning curve because we did hand over event organizers. And so even silly little things, I'll call them silly things, like prize wall tickets being Disney Lorcana branded at Richmond when in Milwaukee they weren't. They were Pastimes branded. Even little things like that I see changing from one event to the other, I think is stepping in the right direction. But it's kind of some of the improvements that we saw already in Season 1. And so I do think it's fair to compare Richmond to Milwaukee. And Richmond was definitely better than Milwaukee in a number of different ways. I do think one of the things they did better last season, and I'd like to see better this season, is the viewing area. The PPG last season, or somebody got a giant LED wall with chairs, and so the viewing area was a lot better, and we were able to see the games, and people could chill and watch the games. And this time it was a little bit different. They did have a viewing area on a TV screen over in the kids area, and you could watch over there, and then you could also stand and watch the top tables, which is great. But I would love to see more like theater style seating and a big projector or something, or more TVs, maybe even more TVs around the venue so that people could actually spectate the games on stream. I think that would be really, really nice. So that's one thing that happened last season that I'd love to see them move to this season. But overall, I think season moving in the right direction. Oh, last thing. Friday events, clearly a sustain, right? We didn't have them in Milwaukee. We did have them in Richmond. And I cannot emphasize enough how much better the event is when we have Friday events. Huge thing for a variety of reasons. So in that regard, Richmond was better than Milwaukee as well. Second hall was really nice. It was just kind of annoying to walk there at times. I saw the second hall on Friday in the evening, and I never saw it again because I was stuck down there. I agree. Second hall is nice. I wish it was right there, but it was nice to have another room. So yeah, Tom, in many ways they're better. What am I looking forward to the most in Winter Spell, or hopes for it? Two things, I think. One is silly. One is the vibe. Like I very much enjoy the atmosphere of certain sets and the overall feeling, the vibe, the flavor of it. In many ways, and it sounds weird to say, but in many ways, I feel like I'm living in that set when they're the current set. Winter Spell, like Whispers in the Well has a very, mystery noir-esque feel. And with all the Gargoyles cards running around and all the cards we're opening and all of that, like it does give us this noir-ish feel. Thanks for the follow, What the Deuce. Also, wonderful name. Wonderful name. I hope that's Stewie inspired, but I appreciate the follow very much. So Winter Spell has it reminds me of Shimmering Skies, where it has this very like celebratory kind of feel, this fun, playful vibe to it. And it's a great palate cleanser after Whispers, where Whispers felt more dark and brooding. Winter Spell feels more airy and fun and light. And the closest analogy I think I have to that is Shimmering Skies following Ursula's Return, where Ursula's Return was very, very dark with the Tangled Glimmers, followed by Shimmering Skies, which has a very fun party-like atmosphere. And as a result, Shimmering Skies is one of my favorite sets of all time. I just love the vibe. So Winter Spell, I'm very much looking forward to the flavor of it. The other thing I'm looking forward to is, we got a teaser of a new kind of like catch-it mechanic to kind of solve the play draw disparity, and that is, I believe it's Angel who was cheaper if you're the player going second. I believe that's the mechanic. And that's really, really fascinating because it opens up some fun possibilities in terms of deck building, but it also means that the designers are trying to find new creative ways to address the play draw disparity and try to give the draw player a little bit of an edge in some sense. Thanks, Ty17, for the follow. I appreciate you so much. And thanks for being here on my random hangout. I'm looking forward to that because I think that probably isn't the only cards where the designers are exploring this space. And I would be interested to see how that works. In fact, you can imagine if that were pushed a little more. Imagine a scenario where players actually are like 50-50 about going first or going second. And it'd be very, very difficult to balance this, right, and to make it that close. But there may be decks or there may be certain archetypes where going second actually is better, which is wild. But you'd have to design cards a certain way to do that, and that'd be a ton of fun. So I'm looking forward to those mechanics. And I'm also just looking forward to like the fun and the kind of the ethereal, snowy feel of Winter Spell. It is a lot of fun. All right. I can bring Palace Heist in Deep Trouble next time. Yeah, do it. Dan Pulsback says the DLC in Richmond was a better experience than Milwaukee. Pricing was better. More events happening. I'm excited to see what the next DLCs hold. I agree. When I see drastic improvements from one DLC to another, it makes me really excited about the next run, because if we see the same scale of improvement from one to the next, and pastimes continue to push the event, push what the event can be from Richmond to Indianapolis the same way they did from Milwaukee to Richmond, like I think we're in for a treat, as things go on. I really am sad, as we all are, that that Indianapolis is the last one for the season, because the more chances they have to execute, the better it'll be. And yeah, I really am excited to see what they do for Indy. Okay. Everyone does meta predictions. What % of the deck will be represented for the first overall 2,000 players? So out of the 2,000 players, how would you break down the percentage of the player base? Are you talking about, Robbie? I'm catching up here. I assume you're talking about the meta share. That was actually published. And I can look at it. I can bring it up in a moment. But if that's what you're asking about, and I'll catch up with the comments in a moment. I do have the meta share breakdown that I can pull up in a moment. What % of players are DKP, Sailor, Zan level competitors? Oh, I see what you're saying. % are very competitive, but maybe not sponsored pro players. % are casuals looking to participate and enjoy the event. Ooh, this is a good question. If I had to, off the top of my head, without thinking about it too hard, give a percentage, I think there are probably, out of the 2,000 players, there's probably about 100 which are like sponsored, competitive, pro level players. And we all know the teams. Now, here's the thing. There's the teams that we all know about, right? Like Rare Hunters and World Class Cards and Maelstrom and, a bunch of others. Then there's the teams that are actually, they have some very competitive players, but they're not talked about quite as much. Uninkables is a great team with like Mitch and Franz Borden and a bunch of other folks who I absolutely love. There's the Incredibles, Infinity, headed by Mo Shamblin. There's a bunch of really good players on that team. I'm going to miss, I'm not trying to name all the teams, by the way. If I missed your team, like ETB or Slab Sharks or any of those, I apologize. I know there's a lot of incredible teams. But I would probably say that there's about 100 or so who fall in that category. Beneath that, there are a lot of players who are competitive players who may not be on a team but have very good play groups and who stand very good chance of making day two. Probably, I don't know, you'd probably say like 500 or 600, maybe 700. But I would venture to guess that about half the room are players who are there to experience a competitive event, who are good players, but perhaps haven't managed to put in 1,000 games. And if I had to guess, I would say it's probably about half the room are, casual competitive players, and then the top half of the room are players who are real, like grinders. And then, but for the sponsor teams, you have about 100 to 200. And this is important actually, because there's a whole bunch we could talk about in terms of teams and how they give you an edge. That isn't to say that any player in the room can't make the finals. Like, even if you're in that bottom 1,000, like you can make the finals, you can make day two. It's not out of reach at all. But in TCGs, when you have a team, like the rich stay rich for a variety of reasons. There's a reason the team players are so consistent. The support that a team gives you is pretty big. And for that reason, I really, really like it. There are a ton of players out there who are right on the edge of making a top cut and making a deep run. There are so many players who are naturally talented and who work very hard. And if they had a team support behind them in terms of playing testing and data and support and scouting and all of that, they could easily make, day two every time and make the top cut. And one of the things I really wish is that some of these competitive teams, if they're not already doing it, would find those players who just need a team behind them to make the top cut and to support them. Because when teams are consistently looking only for players who have performed, there's a huge barrier. And there's players who are kind of, I don't know, it doesn't feel as good to me. So, you see this in MLS and soccer teams, or even in pro sports, you have development players on their rookie contracts or whatever. You have all-stars and you have Hall of Famers, and then you have the up-and-comers who you're looking to develop. And I really wish that teams, more teams, especially the big teams, would look at, would consider that part of their responsibility is kind of maybe bringing up the next generation of players, and would look to do that. All right. That's that. Played blue-green. Honest Abe says, I played blue-green rounds 1 through 5. Yeah, I was everywhere. It was everywhere. Cypher says, at least 10% of the competitors are top-level talent. I agree. I agree with 10%. I would say 100 to 200, and that probably within that 10% range. I play this tourney again, and I probably still play dogs again, to be honest. Yeah, I get it. Strawberry is the best, but I like floats better. Floats are okay when they have vanilla. Vanilla is the best. Man, I'm so far behind. I'm just now at the I talk too much. I'm just now at the shake comment. All right. Tom Keto, does it concern you and other influencers that the next constructed DLC, whenever that is, will no longer include major staples, Sail, Clarabelle, Tramp, Elsa 5-drop, etc.? Does it concern me? No. For two reasons. One, it might. We saw a significant number of reprints placed back into the competitive meta or core constructed with reprints. And a lot of us focus on, some of the big staples that were put back in, but keep in mind things like Captain Hook Forceful Duelist was reprinted in a set before, and Captain Hook Forceful Duelist saw competitive play in Richmond. So I think they have space to start working in some reprint cards. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple reprints worked into Winter Spell, ones that they want to keep legal for longer. But the other thing is, I think it is healthy for some of those to rotate out. The ones that I'm really concerned about keeping, though, or cards I'm really concerned about keeping, I kind of want to keep cards that are core to an Ink's identity. And one of the ones that you mentioned is Sail. I think it's really, really nice that blue has a very distinct identity, and part of its identity is ramp. It's the ramp color. And as much as people joke about taking the turn off on turn 2 to play ramp every time, I kind of like that it's that deck's identity, and it makes it feel distinct from other colors. So I don't necessarily think that we have to keep Sail, but I would like to keep some cards that kind of still allow you to take turns off to do the ramp thing. And we do have Cinderella. Perhaps we do it on turn 3 now. I don't know. But yeah, it doesn't concern me. I think we'll get some cards that we don't even realize exist yet because they haven't been printed, but that will be equally as big staples as those cards are right now. Butterscotch is a close second to vanilla. I agree. The only place I know that has butterscotch is Sonic. Sonic has some bonk shake flavors, and they have several that I really like. Butterscotch I will accept as a vanilla substitute. It's vanilla adjacent. Trevelin, I did. Okay, you went 0-5-1. Did you have fun? Did you have fun, Trevelin? That's what matters. If you had fun and learned, then that's awesome. Seattle was peak season 1, says R2. Milwaukee was a step down as they adjusted. Richmond was much better. Still room to improve. Totally agree. And I think that that's a symptom of them switching tournament organizers, to be quite honest. And to be frank, I don't know that that's a bad thing, right? Like, if you switch TOs, what I want them to do is get the basic things right. I want them to get the basic things right. And if they felt compelled to do 100 different things that were going on in Seattle, like you said, like there was the peak of season 1, and consequently they screwed up a lot of stuff, including the basic stuff, then that's a problem. So I don't mind going into season 2 because we switch organizers for them to take a step back and try to focus on the core of the event and to try to do things right. And that frees up people power too when something goes wrong for them to address that, rather than try to go too big. But I do want them to continue to scale as long as Pastimes still holds the event. Every event I want to see better than the last, and there's definitely things to improve. But Richmond much better than Milwaukee. All right. Better feature match setup, 100%. I don't want to beat a dead horse at this point, but 100% agree. You are not wrong. Love the look of the feature arrow. Yes. Better viewing area would be amazing. 100% agree. Yeah, okay, R2 says, I was very disappointed hearing that Lots of Prizing was sold out while I was midway through the Infinity Spectacular, so I didn't get to walk away with all the stuff I wanted. Yeah, that is a challenge. It is, Let It Go was the one I heard that sold out early. I'm sure there were others, but yeah, it's a challenge, and I don't know that there's a way around it because you can only bring so much of everything, and it's very difficult, I think, to predict which will be the most popular. Like, hypothetically, let's say that every prize on the prize wall or every card was there in equal number. I don't know that I would have predicted that Let It Go would be the most popular, because it's not legal in, Core Constructed. It's kind of iconic, etc. But it would surprise me that Let It Go was the most popular and it was sold out first. But it was. So, and especially with things like the bigger cards, like those, only fit so many of them. So I don't know what the answer is. But it does feel bad when you have your eyes on certain things, and especially when you perform well enough to get the tickets and they're gone. So I acknowledge that. And I wish that were the case. Katie says, put me in. All right. Oh, Katie's been here for like 20 minutes. Oh, Katie, hold on. All right. I'm gonna get Katie in here so we can continue to address stuff. Because I'm doing a lot of talking. Katie, I'm sorry. I just saw my chat. All right. So to do this, I gotta switch views here. You've seen me all do this before. I'm still a novice here at Streamlabs. So, but to get the collab cam source, I go here, start collab cam, copy. Don't switch. Katie. There we go. So, all right. And then I'll switch back and do the thing. So, I'm gonna run puppies if I can make it to Indy. You should run puppies. 100% agree. Run magical spots. Run puppies with like the Bruno and do the thing. That's a whole thing you can do, and I love it. If Iconics were them in Shimmer Skies, Mufasa Ruler of Pride Rock would have been a great iconic. I agree. Mufasa is like iconic level without being iconic. Like, that card is so bonkers good. And the funny thing about it is Mufasa is like, Mufasa holds a ton of value, even though he's not like played all that much, which is wild to me. He's dropping in value some, but he's still like a 450 PSA 10, which is crazy. Richmond is a great time, says Ty. Yeah, Katie with Poglet. Katie, I'm like 20 minutes behind in my comments, apparently. Oh my goodness. Yo, and now, see, I hear I'm catching up. I should start at the bottom again. Fungus, hey! Yo! Thanks for hanging out with us last night. Yeah, if you didn't catch the show last night, we got to chat with Fungus for a little bit. Everyone, if you want to see Fungus back on the show and talk to him live about his event, deck and all that stuff, like, let him know. You should come back on, because Fungus, we want to talk with you again. Great performance. It was wonderful watching you work. And on that note, by the way, before I check if Katie's got the link, Fungus, told us last night that he, talking about bigger challenges, like, or alternate ways to get in, Fungus said that he didn't make a top cut in the first season largely because he couldn't get a ticket. And so every challenge last season, he couldn't get a ticket. Can you imagine a world in which Fungus actually was able to compete last season? Because with the consistency he performs in season 2, and at CCS, he would have been a Worlds competitor last year. And so super glad that Fungus now able to show us his chops. I am so far behind in the comments. Let's see if Katie's here. Boom. Hey, Katie, can you hear me? Oh, let's see. Hold on. Webcam source. I can't hear you. Webcam source, FaceTime, microphone, MXG, share video source. It's probably, Katie, let me check. I think it's a setting on my end, maybe.
Here we go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
It's so working. We're here.
Yeah. Hey, Katie. We're answering questions. I'm like, I've been going through the questions and I'm like 20 minutes behind now, which is why I didn't realize.
I was in there harassing you. I said, listen, I can do this. And so, but I'm here. You have like comments everywhere though. So you're everywhere. You're in YouTube. You're in Twitter. You're in all of it. Twitch. There we go.
Yeah. I could be on Kicker too, but I have no idea what that is.
They're making stuff up. They're trying to catch us.
every time I go to multi-stream, it's like, do you want to stream on Kicker too? And I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Fair. Listen, but it's exciting. I like that where I don't see all the chats. I can only see the ones in Twitch. So that's fun. There is a fungus among us. Do you know how hard it was to stream the finals and not make fungus jokes? Hard. It was really hard.
Dave Tran's here in X. Why didn't you? I mean, you should have. You should
Some
have
gentle. I made some gentle. Like, no. I mean, because like you really could have gotten lost in like the fungus sauce, but be like, I don't know. And plus, like, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for. It was, I think, one of the hardest matches to cast because it was like a simple matchup, right? It was the same two decks, but like those two decks against each other was the most complicated thing I've ever thought about. And I was like, I don't know. They keep doing it. It doesn't stop. It was a crazy matchup.
Yeah. I don't know how you commentated that. And not only that, but like 5-game matches are a marathon. Absolutely marathon.
I will say though, so like when I watch you cast the Karsten finals, I was like, wow, this is taking a long time. I kind of was like really tired. But when I casted the final, I was like, oh yeah, that was what, like an hour and a half. And they're like, that was 400 hours. It's actually 2027. And I was like, how did that happen? So I guess when you're in the booth, it's like riveting. But apparently everybody else was feeling the pressure there. But I do think the other thing too is trying to explain. At one point it was like, because I mean, it was like, I don't know. If they had differences in cards, you could have been like, so here's probably how things might be different. But I was like, no, It's the same. It's just one less improvise and one more drawn silver. It was crazy. Yeah. So, but was it fun to watch? Like, because you were out and about. So were the vibes fun?
Well, full disclosure, like at the time I got off for the finals, hadn't eaten. There was a lot going on, so I didn't watch much of it because it would have required me to be on my phone, be in the viewing area, or be like hovering over the tables, and it was very difficult to see. So unfortunately, it was a little difficult for me to actually watch most of the games. I did watch Game 5 because, I mean, you have to. But I will say that everybody watching was absolutely riveted, and especially in the team area, I could tell people were really enjoying it, and the way that everybody talked about it back afterwards. Like, I still haven't gone back and watched the full thing through yet, but I can tell it was definitely one of like the best matches of Disney Lorcana that you will ever see.
I couldn't imagine like being in the player spot, because it's like mirror matches in general are so painful because you're thinking about your deck and you're thinking about your opponent's deck, and you have to think about the statistics of both those decks together. And best of 5, I'd be like, let's just do best of 1, although that would probably not be favorable either. So, and shout out to your Torchies Cup. I'm very, very jealous of what's happening over there.
This is a P. Terry's.
It's not P. Terry. Oh, it's not Torchies. Oh my gosh.
No, it looks like it though, doesn't it?
It does.
Aaron brought me a surprise milkshake.
That's nice.
Of the best flavor, vanilla.
Vanilla. I mean, shout out to vanilla shake lovers. It's not an exciting shake, but it is. It's the original. I think they start with vanilla and then they invented all the other shakes after.
One thing Dave Charon just said in Twitter, that Fungus versus Sky sounded like a WWE match, and one of the things that did occur to me during the finals, and it's occurred to me for a while this season, but during the finals especially, was how nice it is that we can use monikers, because seeing Fungus versus Sky on the screens was just so fun, instead of seeing like their actual names and having everybody go like, yeah.
But how fun was it though that like all day it was like legal government names and something happened? Like, I want to know the conversation where Fungus, like, did he walk up? They're like, all right, name. He's like, Fungus. They're like, no, like your name. And he's like, Fungus. Because Pierre Marc Duguay wasn't Sailor. I mean, all day it was like government names. And so then all of a sudden it was Fungus. And I was like, all right, why was I not there when that happened? I wish I was.
Yeah. I wish I was too.
Yeah.
I was too.
All day, formal. Then the Fungus party started.
Yeah. Some people would say some people think Fungus is boring, but I honestly think he's a fun guy.
See, I know. I was like, oh man, things are getting dark and moist and the fungus is growing. And I was like, no, it's not time to experiment with fungus jokes in the finals, but I wanted to and just see where they went. We have an overgrowth.
Yeah, trying to push the brand, man. Hey, I love it. Fungus, I need to know, and I didn't ask you last night, but where the name came from.
I know.
I don't think we got that, did we?
I,
I
I
have
don't.
no idea.
I mean, honestly, I mean the lungus. Oh my gosh, no, the fungus lore, the lorgus. There has to be some. I assume he's been doing TCGs. He posted that he's been practicing. I was at League tonight. Me and this guy stopped by our local game store, and someone's like, "Did you hear Fungus practices 20 hours a day?" And I was like, "I think that's not what he said. I don't think it says Fungus practices 20 hours a day, but I do like how it's gotten hyperbolic. It's like, you know, Fungus actually only practices and never sleeps. Is how it's translated in this short day."
It's true. Fungus. Yeah, Fungus was spawned really with Lorcana cards and TCG cards and StarCraft. Wow. Okay. Yeah, Fungus was saying he played. I forget. Yeah, he was saying on the show last night that he used to play StarCraft and World of Warcraft professionally.
Wow. Okay, so that's
Yeah, so an esports background.
okay.
I wonder how common that is. Folks come from like esports to TCGs.
I think because I think it's really like the competitive aspect. I think it's the same reason that like if there's like poker players that come over to TCGs is there's like a certain percentage of people in the world that really like competing and be the best at things. And I just think like there's a part of your brain that can grind something and just get good, better and better and better. I don't have that, so I unfortunately cannot join Fungus and Sky in the fight. Well, we did honestly. Yes, we joined them. We were all there with them. It's just not competing, just speculating wildly.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I just think there is like a little piece of brain because everybody that like is good, they'll be like, "Oh, well, this is my first TCG," but they're like, "But I used to play League of Legends." It's like, okay, so everybody has like something that they're like, "I was obsessed with something." There's like an obsessive nature that they like apply. I think.
I agree. By the way, I'm scrolling up in the chat now. I'm quiet because I'm scrolling up in the chat, making sure we didn't miss any questions or comments. And very popular. We had like 8 people chime in to say welcome. They're excited to see you. So. Including
so
Monica
nice.
Kate. So
Monica, I love Monica. She's so calm. I felt really bad. Okay, so this happened to a few people, and probably happened to you, Liam, where you'd pop out of your little curtains, and we'd be like doing the scoot because like if you have to go to the bathroom was on the other side of the room, and like if you ever had a time crunch, you had the decision of like, do I gamble where I talk to people and I might not get to go to the bathroom, or do I just look kind of rude and go like, hey, and like just, and so I gave Monica a little bit of the rudeness. I said, I must go get pasta now or perchance I'll never eat. And I don't know. I feel bad about the people that I gave eye contact with. And I was like, it's now or never. If I don't go, I won't.
Yeah.
So maybe we should get like a little outhouse or a little like porta potty in the casting area next time.
Yeah. Or like a hoodie, right? Where you can like, you know, if you need to go do something and you can't stop to talk to people, where you just like put the hoodie down so people don't know.
But let's be honest, we're the problem. Like me and you are the kind of people who are like, oh, I'm gonna walk, but then like you're extra. I say whenever I counsel somebody new and they're like, where'd Liam go? I was like, he gets the zoomies. When Liam's out there, he is so charged up by eye contact and people. So he gone. And then me, I don't know. It's just you see people and it's so exciting. How do you not get excited about seeing somebody?
I agree. Or getting excited when they see, like when you can tell when people are excited they see you. Like it's fun to like.
It is because I'm never excited to see like most people all the time, but at Disney Lorcana, I'm very excited the entire time to see people.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but it's hard not to like want to, you know, even if it's not stopping and talking, just high fiving people and, you know, giving fist bumps and because it is, you know, not only is it fun to see people, but you never know when somebody has like just picked up their 3rd loss or, you know, or their 4th loss and they're feeling kind of down, and even just a fist bump and like how you doing between rounds can be a nice thing. So I don't know, you never know people are at during the day.
It's true. And sometimes you get a sticker.
Yeah,
that's really nice. You get little gibbets and jabbits. That's my favorite thing. I have my little gibbets and jabbits box where I put all the gibbets and jabbits that people have given me, and I need to reload it with all the gibbets and jabbits I got this time. But
okay, I was just saying, I got Ink Table here. These are not all of them, but Ink Table, Enchanted Citrus Clash, Maelstrom sticker. I've got a Lorcana Fran sticker, and a couple Maelstrom. Don't tell them. I got 2.
Yeah, I got
tokens, but I got them signed.
I honestly never tell somebody if they give you 2 stickers, you go thank you, and then you keep them.
And then I got a new hat.
I'm jealous. Whenever you get a hat, I'm like, I need a thing. I need,
Uninkables. Yeah, you should, yeah.
I
Do
need a
a,
thing that people are like, oh, I always give Katie blah. But I take stickers. I'll take it all day. I
do
want to get
friendship
the.
bracelets.
I have a couple. I've got this one says just Queen. Love that. This one's the ink casters. I love that. Someone gave me one that had my name on it, which I really like. This is, I'll show it really quick, so then I'll turn it away. We got vintage. Oh, put that away. We don't talk about that team because guess what? We got Maelstrom. And we
Yeah.
got I got SLTC. We got all these things here. Yeah, everybody said the one Jack says, I always give Katie Enchanted Set 1 Elsa's. We should start that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And Chance, what else it is? Braden MTG says Nate Silver has a book about this. I forget what we were talking about when you said that. So
Nate Silver. Whoa.
Yeah.
You guys were talking about very heady things before I started.
David Williams is a pro Magic player that became a successful pro poker player. Yeah, the skills translate apparently. Wow.
They do, because I think like you just have to be somebody that's like, I am going to be the best. Although we have Braden saying, poker personalities. And I will say, I tell people, I'm like, when I play Lurkana, I feel like there's people who are poker and Magic players who are now playing Lurkana, and then there's like Lurkana players, and the vibes can be very different. Because I feel like I've played a few people who are like, you can tell they used to play something serious, and now they're playing this, and they don't think pulling enchanteds are fun. They're not like they're having a very different day than I'm having. But you know, shout out to them. They're having fun in their own way, just in a way that's kind of a little off-putting and hard to vibe with.
Yeah,
you know, that's their fun.
I agree. Also, thanks, Dave, for the gifted sub. That's super cool. Figment Finder is now subbed due to a gift.
We got to get Dr. Dave Tran, because I believe he is a chiropractor, correct?
I'm not sure.
We need to get him. If he is, I need to get him on the how to make it where I don't have the TCG pain all day, because I sit like a gargoyle. Oh. So if he is, if he's not too, he can still give me advice.
Well, he also gave us some great advice. So we have 3 different solutions here. So we were talking about our problem about not being able to like go, use the facilities and like get food and stuff when we were out and about. And we got 3 different suggestions from people.
I'm ready. I'm excited.
All right. The one Jack says, be rude, get your fat caffeine and bathroom breaks, which, yeah, I mean, that is definitely a solution. Fairy Quintink says, you can be politely rude. Like, I would love to chat, but it's been 4 hours since I peed. Also a viable solution. Dr. Dave Tran says, castor diapers.
I've already tried the third one. Sorry, that ship has sailed. No, we'll try all 3. Well, next time in the meeting, the pre-casting meeting, but I will say it is crazy though, because it is. I really do think we could really implement. I could get a sign that says "Don't talk to me," but once we get out there, it's so exciting because we're in the back, and then we get out, and then it's like, oh yeah, there's this really fun thing that I love so much happening out here, and it's hard not to get really excited and get lost in the excitement of it all.
And R2 Katie says I know you can't see the YouTube comments, but R2 Katie says, meanwhile, I see Liam or Katie and don't say hi because they don't want to bother them. You should absolutely bother us.
You should. It's my favorite. Like, people bothering me, I can't be bothered. Actually, that's the thing. You can't bother us. So it kind of bothers us that you didn't say hi, if you think about it. So if that was your goal.
Yeah, you should. It's a funny thing, Katie, and I don't know if it's the same for you, but like the casting days are like incredibly long, and then there are some times where you come off a match and you feel like you didn't quite hit it, and you're like ah man, you're kind of bumming because you're like, I'm not sure if that was my best match, and then somebody comes over to you and says, hey, like, I like what you do, or I like your casting, or I like your content, and like all of a sudden you are like refueled.
It's true. And, it is kind of funny though, because sometimes people will come up. My favorite thing is with like the casters, and you'll see this with teams too. Like, someone will come up, and it's like kind of fun to be like, who are they going to say hi to? And so sometimes it's like they'll like go past you. Like, that's fair. But if you're next to a villain, it's always they're coming to say hi to villain. But sometimes they're excited over there too. But with a villain, you're like, it's the big guy. All right, let me get out of the way. Here he is. Yep. Shout out to Hit Baker for being on. He gets there before us and he leaves after us. He is. I don't know how he does it.
He's a villain. Yeah,
he's a villain, but I don't think so. I think he's the opposite. I think that's the secret he doesn't want people to know.
Yeah,
he's nice, guys. I don't know.
He's just as awesome off camera as he is on camera. Like he's everything you would expect him to be.
It's true. Yeah, you think that like you'd be like, oh yeah, but obviously at some point he like, is like, anyway, my name's Andrew and I'm pretty calm, but no, he's actually a really cool British guy named Baker the whole time, and he's locked in, laser focused, as they say.
As some might say.
Some might say. I did say that during casting, it is kind of fun that we all like pick up things from each other. You can tell that like we all like have mannerisms and things that we've learned from each other, and I really quite like that.
It is true. It is true. And sometimes you don't even realize it. Like something comes out and you're like, oh, that's JDZ, or or that's a joke I took from Color. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I was trying to teach 5. I think is that you, Amy Weekly? Saying I love seeing everyone. Was so excited to get to chat with the two of you. It was nice chatting with you as well. A bunch of people in the chat too, Katie, talking about the Festival of the Arts this weekend. I'm
Farts.
so jealous.
I am so jealous. Have you been to Farts before? It's called Farts. That's the cool term.
The what? The parks?
The people will call it Farts, Festival of the Arts, but they just call it Farts to be fun.
Oh, I've not.
So I like that festival because, so Epcot has Festival of the Arts, Flower and Garden Festival, then Food and Wine Festival, and then the Christmas kind of festival. And so pretty much there's always a festival now, which is kind of cheating. But Festival of the Arts was added as like this little mini festival between Christmas and Garden. And I love it because it's a short festival, but January in general is a great time to go to Disney because the weather's nice. There's no one there. Everybody's done. And it's like a nice fill-in festival. And then it also has farts. Well, it does, honestly, folks. You're eating a lot of cheese. But it's just a fun festival. And they have like this thing where you do like a little mural and everybody paints like 2 squares. And at the end of the day, it's a whole mural. And they have like little art exhibitions. So like I loved the festival before it got Lorcana. And now I have Lorcana and my FOMO could not be higher. Can you please, who is in charge of sponsoring trips? Please sponsor me and Liam to go. Thank you.
Yep, 100%.
I will accept it. I'll make a video the whole time.
Yeah, we're waiting. We will make content. Also, a couple folks at Lorcana Librarian, thanks for the sub. And Braden MTG gifted a sub to the real Ed Wink at W Inc. So I appreciate both of you. Lorcana Librarian Sarah, hi. It's so awesome. It was awesome to see you this weekend, Sarah, by the way.
Yeah, she was judging. I love Sarah because when she shows up, she contains multitudes. She's just great. They always show up and they're judging or lore guiding. They weren't judging, they were lore guiding, which I think sounds more fun, right? I'm not being judged, I'm being guided.
Being guided. Being guided in a fun way. Braden also said the book he was talking about is The Art of Risking Everything. He's recommended it to a few Lorcana players, and they've liked it. I'm going to add that to my reading list. The Art of Risking Everything. Probably applicable. Do a video.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's another book I heard about the other day that I was going to read, but like I think I got it from this. I think someone's not said what it was about. And I was like, all right, I get it. But the book Blink is called about like how people call intuition. Like I haven't read the book, but I read what it was about. And I want to read it now because it's about how people say like, oh, you have intuition, but so much of intuition is the fact that you've done something so much that you've already done the math and you have the math needed to make the decision. So I wondered how that applied to TCGs, right? Like, so Fungus said he played 5,000 million times. So when he had that, by Malcolm Gladwell. So when he has this like intuition that something's good, it's not intuition so much as just knowing something's right because you've done it, if that makes sense.
It does.
Because like at the end of the day, I have bad intuition with blue green. When I have it, it's all like trying to guess what they were going to do next. At least 3 times rather. It was turn 3, and we're like, all right, this is the turn you play Cinderella, and then they would play Donald Duck Perfect Gentleman, which I have since found out is because you want to play Donald Duck Perfect Gentleman, and then the next turn you can play Cindy and shift target for Clarabelle. But at the time, I was like, what is he doing? What are they doing? And it's just because I don't have the intuition on that yet. So, man, that match was great. It was very fascinating.
That's a great point. And it's actually one of the reasons why it ties to one of the reasons why I am a big fan of quote unquote playing it out. There's all this, if there's time for it around, there's always this debate And JD likes to talk about this, like, hey, are you a fan of scooping early if you think you've lost the game, or do you like to continue to play? And I'm especially in competitive settings. I'm always a fan of continuing to play as long as the round timing allows for it. Because the more of the deck that you see, the more scenarios you put yourself in, the more, again, you're generating that like intuition. I don't know, I kind of like it. I just have to shout out, little Donnie says, hey, good to see you this weekend, Liam. Glad you kept the white blazer clean. I am too. It's only a
We
matter of
don't let him
time.
have spaghetti. Whenever the spaghetti comes out,
Yes.
we say, nope, Liam can't. He's wearing the white blazer, so he'll have to sit this one out. He can have the noodles, but not the sauce.
Which is really boring. Lawson says, glad we got to meet you and awesome. Love the, love the Rockstar Stitch. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, it is. Okay, 2 teach 5. I don't know about you, Katie. I have such a problem like with real names versus like Discord names versus Twitch names versus. I appreciate when they're consistent. So
I do. Shout out to everybody who has the same name on everything. Because even Fungus, love the guy. But Fungus, I'd like to note, his name is not Fungus. So when you look at like the top 16, it had like their first and last name on the pictures. My sister is in a chat. She's like, which one's Fungus? And the chat said, Fungus is Fungus. And she's like, no, which one of these men is Fungus? And they're like, the Fungus man. And she's like, no, there's no one named Fungus. And so.
yeah, the Fungus. Yeah, that's funny.
The Fungus. That's look at these 16 people or 32 people and tell me which one looks the most like Fungus. That could be a really hurtful thing to do if you weren't ready for it. But now it's a very big compliment to say you look the most like
Breezy coming in. Sorry, Breezy coming in with a rate of 15.
Oh,
Breezy.
It ain't easy being Breezy. We got to see him.
Yeah, and Breezy is one of the most wonderful people. If you don't watch Breezy's stuff and you're not subscribed to him, you should be. Breezy is one of those people who will randomly on a random day for no reason, like probably once a month, just send me a note and say, hey, I appreciate you and you're awesome and I appreciate your content. And
you might be getting hacked because he was hacked, but 90% of the time it's him and it is really nice.
That's true. It could be a hacker, but I do appreciate Breezy so much. So hey Breezy and Raiders, we're just chatting about the weekend. If you have any questions, let us know. It's been fun kind of going through our experiences. So I appreciate you all being here. And Breezy, I appreciate you for being you and for rating us. So thanks. Katie, Eric asks on Twitter, Eric Ulvglen, and I can't do the name. Are there any ideas on what we as vendors can improve on? Because we're talking a lot about DLC improvements. And I don't know if you have an opinion there. I'd have to think about it.
Strangely, a lot of the vendors don't have booster packs, which is always very surprising. But then I realized that there was a Ravensburger store vendor. So then I went to the Ravensburger store, which then had the challenge promo collection quest. So the vendors, I think, I don't know. I don't know what kind of guidelines they have on what they can and can't do in the space. So that's kind of the tricky part, right? But have boosters. I love boosters, but that's just because I can't not go to an event and buy some boosters. I don't think Liam's ever saw me at an event and I didn't buy some booster packs. It's just not happened.
No. It's one of my favorite things about you, Katie, is you are a compulsive booster pack opening.
It's my day. Like it gets me like something about watching Lorcana. I'm like, it'd be cool if maybe I had a little Lorcana, and then I buy it. Cool. But someone also said about the side events. I hear the side events. Okay, so here's the thing. Me and Liam, maybe you did, but we were like, or maybe no, this was the first day. The very first day I walked into the side event room and I was like, oh, this is where the DLC is. This room's so beautiful. And it's got wood paneling. And then I never went to that room ever again. I have no idea what happened in that room. Did you ever go back to that room or ever go to that room?
I did not. To be quite frank, Katie, I forgot it existed until somebody mentioned it about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. And I don't know what happened in there. It must have been all on demand.
I guess.
Yeah. So... yeah. Probably. And it makes sense though, right? Because like it was not close. The other room, I kind of expected it. So in Fort Worth, there was the main event room and then like the opposite room that was like the smaller room. And so it was only across the hallway, but this one was like a jaunt. You crossed the street at one point. You didn't have to go to the street, but you walked over a street. So I don't know, but it was a really nice room. I'm,
Yeah.
um, I heard there were some issues with pricing being communicated well, with especially like the prize spectacular on Saturday,
Yeah,
but
I read that thread.
and that's par for the course. I mean, man, there's going to be some miscommunication, right? So I don't think it's. I don't know. I think if that's the worst, I think things are getting better. I do hope. One thing I think I told Rebecca and Baker the same thing is that I hope at one point we get something for being there all 8 rounds, because you can tell there was like a magic of the people that stayed there, like they were proud of it, and I think it'd be really cool to have something like a promo medallion waits or something where they're like, I stayed all 8 rounds, and I don't know. So I hope that happens at some point.
Yeah. ABBC with "I Want to Be in the Room Where It Happened." I don't know if I can sing too much more without being copyright struck, but yeah. I do want to answer the vendor question though, Katie. I was trying to, while you were talking about the side events, I was racking my brain to think of anything
I
I
know.
think the vendors can improve. I don't know that there is, because I don't shop like the typical Arcana player shops. I know a lot of people are looking for playables. I look for like shiny enchanteds and things that I need. One thing that I wish more vendors would do though at events with artist signings is have a box with all of the artist cards in it, because I guarantee in like their bulk, there are probably, a bajillion Robin Hood Unrivaled Archers and like, John Lauren's other Robin Hoods and Ursula's and things like that, as well as a bunch of Javi Salas's cards. And if there were just a box full of, all of the commons and uncommons and whatever, and you could charge $1 a piece for them, like at that point, like people will spend $1 to go get a card signed for free by John Lauren.
Exactly.
So that's one thing at these that I wish more of the vendors did, because there's probably a number of players who didn't even realize that artists were going to be there, and were like scrambling to find a few of their favorite cards by those artists. So that might be one thing that I would suggest.
Yeah, definitely, because I was scrambling, but you saw my cards got smashed in my suitcase, and I'm really
I
sad about it.
did.
I'm gonna iron them. They still mean something to me. I'm not gonna get them graded, but they're still signed. It's fine. All right, these things happen. If that's the worst thing that happened is they got folded in thirds, that's still pretty bad, but it's okay. I survived.
Yeah, there's like one or two of those that I was like, oh, that'll flatten, and then I saw the creases in some of the others, and I was like,
Oh,
no,
they're deep creases.
no.
It's deep. The Pooh Honey Wizard is now the Pooh Tri Wizard because he has been folded in
Oh.
thirds.
Lawson Davis says, my wife pulled a Lady Tremaine enchanted like 20 minutes before the artist quit signing Sunday. So we ran to the main room to get it signed. You made the sprint all the way from the side events room. Well, kudos. It was like it was meant to be. Although that's a bit of a run.
It is. Did you have to run through the tiny cheerleaders?
Oh, yeah. That's a cheerleader convention.
Little tiny sparkly children. I was like, I love the crossover of men with their backpacks and then tiny sparkly children.
Yeah. Inkplay says, I heard multiple people saying they wish they got prize tickets for participation in the main event rounds and not just making it to day 2. Yeah, I can see that. It would feel nice if there were maybe a couple more thresholds, like you get a certain amount for playing 3 rounds, you get a certain amount for playing 6 rounds.
Certainly the whole day, right? Because like you stayed the whole day. Because I mean, going 5-3 is the same as going 3-3, and that's sad.
True.
So my friends dropped at 3-3, and I was like, "Well, why didn't you keep playing?" She's like, "Well, why would I?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." And the people that did, they said it's because they wanted to compare their record to their previous DLC, and so like, whatever. I can't know what my record would be unless I stayed. But like, there should be some kind of reward for sitting and playing Lorcana the entire day, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
And like it doesn't have to be like scaling. It could just be like, hey, you played 8 rounds. This is there's your pack. You get a promo for coming, and then you get a promo for staying. I think there should be something, because it's nice seeing people in the room all day, and it's nice rewarding people for sticking with it, especially if you were X and 2 going into the 8th round. I think it'd be nice to say, listen, yeah, you went X3, but you stayed there, and we like you.
Here's your consolation. Yeah, I agree. I like incentivizing people to stay and play the main event because the more competition you play against, good competition, like the better you get.
It's
And
it's the only way to get better is to just do it. Because I don't
yeah.
know, it's so easy when something's going poorly to give up. But I think that's like the difference between a good player and the great player is the stamina to keep pushing through. And
Oh,
oh wow,
thanks,
Ninja
Ninja
Harden.
Heartily with a gifted sub to Little Spion. Thank you for that.
Listen, they
Well,
got for Lacana Aiden, Foxtrot McCoy,
whoa,
JD Quest got gifted a sub. Thank goodness. We got to
whoa.
get
There's
that.
wait, so many. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, wow. There's a box that goes down. Ninja Harley with 5
Yeah.
subs. 8. All my favorite people.
You're
JD.
one sub away from your goal of 50 subs. And if you're
What?
the
I had a
50th
sub
sub,
goal.
yeah, it says your goal is 50. And when you get to 50, Liam will recite all of O Captain, My Captain by Walt Whitman.
I didn't even know I had a sub goal.
I think it automatically puts it. Like it
Oh,
automatically says you have a goal and it'll reset when you hit it. So
got it.
you've achieved your follower goal. Congratulations.
Sick.
But you are one away from your sub goal.
Oh, my Twitch is making all sorts of noises. I'm not used to
It's
this.
happy Twitch sounds.
That's true. Thank you, Harley. It was good seeing you as well. Oh my
It's really
goodness.
so nice to see in Charlie. They had this QR code tappy thingy that like would take you to their channel, and I was like, that's so
Very nice jerseys too, by the way. Harley, yeah, the team created some awesome jerseys. I think they're like number 3 or 4 now on my favorite jersey list. Maybe 3, maybe 4. There's some nice.
I gotta
quality
get on a
jerseys.
team, Liam. I want a jersey so bad. I want one. Let me have one. I just
I
think
have.
it's time.
That could be your thing. You collect jerseys. Um,
I don't have a single one. I do have
I
access to like the world's class cards one. I could go. I wore that once when I was casting world class cards, but I felt like it was stolen valor. I don't feel cool enough to do that. And also, I've never seen a woman wear the world class cards jersey, so it felt wrong. I felt like
That's funny. And I get it.
yeah.
By the way,
Let's get a woman in the jersey.
Additional Ink, awesome show.
It is very well
Everybody
produced.
very, very well produced. It's probably the best produced. Like
It is. It's like
in-person
it's very very professional.
between that and Lab Rats. Thanks for the follow, by the way, Lionheart. I appreciate you too. Couple questions I want to, or a couple things. One, I did want to back to the vendor thing. One note on that. I don't know which vendor you were, but all the vendors this weekend I had a very good experience with, and I thought were awesome. So the best thing the vendors can do is maintain a positive attitude with the Lorcana players and be friendly, and I think everybody was. Yeah. Wait, who are my favorite jerseys? Says Epic Collectible Shop. Well,
This is tier list. This is our tier list for the rest of the night. This is what we'll be doing.
yeah, I don't know some of the names, but number one, still, my favorite jersey is, I believe it's the Uninkables. They have an orange and black jersey. It's orange on the bottom. It really pops. I think it's professional. I think it's well designed. I think it's great. Big fan of that jersey. I like obnoxious colors. So I actually like TFM's neon green jerseys that you can see across the room. I don't know why. I think they pop. And I like that you can stand up in a chair and you can identify all your players in a room. Number 3, I actually like Snuggly Ducklings jerseys quite a bit. I like the purple and green. I like the baseball style jersey. I like that it's an homage to New Orleans and they're from Louisiana. And I think that they're good looking jerseys. Fourth, there's another jersey that I really like, and I don't know what it is, but they're two-tone pastel. There's like a light blue and like a pink, like pastel either side. I saw them on the last day, and I really liked them. So if anybody knows,
Aloha or Ohana?
oh maybe,
Team Ohana?
maybe. But
They're
it was
pink.
my first time seeing it. It was like a pastel or like powdery blue, and then like a light pink, and I really, really liked them.
Go through my sticker collection real quick.
Yeah, I think I really
love
like those.
Ink. They have such a snappy branding. Ink's stuff. Whenever I see it, I'm like, oh, you guys, the font on that is crispy. I quite like.
Inking is good too. Oh, there's another one I really like, and it's not. I don't think it's in the top jerseys, but I
these
really like.
colors.
Oh yeah. Okay, it was very much like those.
Yeah.
So it might have been them, but it's very much those colors. The other one that I really like, there's I think they're from El Paso, but it's a team from Texas that has like Mickey, and they're like just white and black, and it has like a sugar skull like Mickey. I think it's really good. It's really good. Pink and Blue's Lorcana Muses.
We'll never know until you guys send us all a jersey, and then we'll be able to know
Yeah.
which one we love the most.
Um, TSD maybe.
Yeah, that's the
TSD.
Snuggly Duckling,
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
which makes
Um,
sense that you said they're from New Orleans because one time they gave me a little baggie that had a little duck, a little tiny duck, and then the Snuggly Duckling, and then down in New Orleans. And I was like, nice. And now that makes sense. I just thought they're like, anyway, here's a free down in New Orleans. So I'm like, thank you.
so I'm coming right back, Katie.
No, that's okay. I'll just keep chatting. I'll do it.
Come tell me about the muses. I know about the muses. Yeah.
I can't see your stream unless I'm on Twitch, but here we go. Let me go.
So,
There we
yeah.
go. Well, that's nice, man.
It's the muses hat. So
You know what's crazy that you have so many hats, but like you don't wear hats. So like it's such a
Nope.
crazy thing. Like it's like, but I like it though.
I do not, generally, but I do have a wall full of them over there. And I take it back. I used to have a wall before all the hooks I put up fell down, so I need to get a better wall.
They're called the luchadores. I assume it's the
Ah,
luchadors,
the
but I'd call it the,
luchadores.
but
Yeah.
luchadores makes it sound like luchadors, luchadores,
Yeah.
luchadors, whatever. I'm no habla español. Lo siento.
Yeah. Luchadores, yeah, I like it. Tom Kita says no love for Tragic Hero gaming jerseys. I mean, I don't say I don't like them. If I saw them, I would probably be like, I'd probably know what you're talking about. These are the ones that just like stick in my head as like my favorites. So Tragic Hero, maybe. I want to send me the jersey picture.
Send us the jersey is what he meant to
Send us
say.
the jersey. Also hats. Like if you have a hat.
Send us the jersey. Full stop, please.
100%.
I love things.
Yeah, yours. But back to full circle, like Ninja Harley's jerseys are really, really cool. What I like about them is a weird thing to like about Additional Inks jerseys is they have a giant ink splash like above, like below the arm, and oftentimes because of the seam that exists on a lot of clothing, like you can't have a cohesive design there, and the design actually wraps, and it's really nice. So I like all the colors and such. Yeah. Somebody asked a question, Katie, of us.
I'm ready.
ABBC, whose name I never tire of saying,
APBC.
says, if RB called you right now and said you had to pick a theme and 2 films or shows to be the focus of a set, what would you pick?
That's really a lot.
It's a lot of pressure. Yeah.
It is, right? Like you have to design a set. I'm like, why are you calling me at 10 at night? And okay, a theme and 2 shows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Theme and like,
I'm done. So I already know. So I'm waiting for Worlds Beyond, and it's like a crossover set where Lorcana is going into the parks, and it's going into like the animated park stuff. So I get it. Like if it's not animated, it won't be in there. But like we're talking Duffy and Friends, we're talking Figment. So it'd be like Lorcana Beyond, and it would have Duffy, and it would have Duffy, Shelly May, Halume, all of them really, and it would be great. And then also Figment, and then that's mine. So I did it. It was not hard at all, actually.
I'm gonna have a harder time with it.
You will, because honestly, I'm very lucky that I've pulled that out of nowhere.
I think I would want, and we got this a little bit because we had an Atlantis like set with like Inklands and Inkrunners and stuff.
Yeah, it was light tennis. We could use way more.
Yeah, I would like a steampunk style set.
That would be fun. Yeah, and do some Floodborne stuff with that.
Yeah, because I can imagine like box art that like really leans into the steampunk aesthetic with like tubes and pipes and copper and you know what I would do too, Katie?
Dreamfinder from Figment. No, sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I would put foil on the box, so like the box had like some reflective elements to it, so it really popped. And I want Wall-E in it, because Wall-E is, I think it is the best Pixar film. And
it makes you feel like kind of like, ooh, like it's like a movie that just makes you feel good inside.
Yeah.
Although I did think about this earlier today. I was cleaning the kitchen and I realized we are plus or minus like a year to 5 years away from at some point being able to play a card called Sadness. And that is so exciting. I play Sadness and Quest Out. And I'm so excited. You can also have happiness and anger.
I'm waiting for the anxiety card.
I
It
have
has to
to,
have some effect that like,
I've already been playing it every single day.
yeah,
I've been playing the anxiety
it's your
card.
spirit, spirit. Um, yeah, I think so. Then if steampunk's the theme, then Wally would be one because of the robot aesthetic, and then you could lean a couple different directions. I mean, you could go back to Atlantis. You could do more Treasure Planet. Um, but
Yeah.
but maybe
I think what I mean it'd be fun to have like Mickey and the Fab Sensational Six while doing
yeah,
steampunky stuff and having like little top hats and stuff. Because I mean, Detective Mickey's already steampunk adjacent. All right, he's already
that is
halfway
true.
there.
That is true.
Oh, Ninja Harley with the sadness is missing your turn two ramp. So sadness is already in the game.
Missing your turn two ramp. 100%. Sadness defeated. Lose the game. Yeah, that'd be.
Yeah, I mean,
Imagine a card that basically said like I would love cards that are like in the game purely for flavor and nothing else.
banish
Like
sadness.
yeah, like Sadness, a card that says like lose the game. Like no reason to play it ever.
Yeah.
You shouldn't play it, but it exists and it's just hilarious that it exists. Um
Hmm.
I agree. Aiden says Wally is so boring. Aiden, I won't say your
They
opinion is wrong
LOL.
because it's your opinion.
They LOL JK, but I think
That's
they're
true. That's
serious.
true.
If we're gonna be honest, I don't think.
That is true.
Oh, Tinkerbell would be embody steampunk. Yeah, Tinkerbell. She's a tinkerer. So yeah, Tinkerbell tinkers. That'd be fun. Like Tinkerbell and like the fairy. We could get Cheese, the mouse named Cheese from the Tinkerbell series.
Yeah.
And
A lot
Tokyo
of
Disney is like the plot of the ride is you're giving Cheese the day off, which I quite liked.
is that true? Is that
Yeah, like it's like Cheese wants so Cheese delivers the mail. I think his name is Cheese. Now that I'm saying it three times out loud, it seems a little less likely. But you're giving Cheese a day off and he delivers the mail. So you're delivering the mail to all the different fairy hollows. And at the end, you see Cheese celebrating his birthday. And I will not Google if that's his name because I like the reality I live in right now where I do believe it's Cheese.
so? If Cheese makes it in Lorcana, Cheese absolutely has to be a legendary card.
Yes. But
I'll leave that there.
legendary. Pretty sure you are correct and his name is Cheese. It is in fact Cheese. All right, we got his name is Cheese. And I gave him the day off twice because I wrote it a couple times because quite frankly, it was cute.
That's funny.
Not the best ride in that area, but it was delightful.
I also have to shout out FN12345X says watching from Australia, and our commentary was great. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
From
thanks for tuning
I
in from
didn't
the
do
other
an
side of the world.
Australian accent. That was my thanks to them as I didn't do that from down under. There we go. That's all I'll do.
Everything you know about Australia, I got from Bluey. So
Yeah. Is that Australia? So my accent always goes to Kiwi. It always goes because Kiwi, it sounds like questions all the time, but it's not Australian.
that's pretty good.
Thank you.
Everything
It's
you
only
know
because I
about,
watched the Concords.
oh, that's what I was gonna say. Everything you know about New Zealand, I get from Flight of the Concords.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Right.
I think she might be Australian. I'm not. I'm not participating in this hug.
Yeah. So Flight of the Concords coming to Disney Lorcana. But yes, I'm very excited for I need reveal season to start immediately, and it's not started yet, obviously, but I need it. Although I always get excited for reveal season, and then by 2 days in, I'm like, I can't keep up, stop. And so
Mhm.
I'm ready for that point too, where I'm like, what's happening? And because reveal season's a week. It's been a week for the past 3 sets, and I feel like we call it season. It's not a season if it's a week long. That's just a
No.
really long week where you're like, help! I've learned 30 things today.
Yeah. Which I there's ups and downs. I think I do like it better because I do like the ability to focus on
True.
the
You
current
just
season.
get it
But
done.
it does make that week like people ask me like midway through the week, like what cards do you think have a competitive impact? And I'm like, I've seen 5 of them. I don't even know. Like
I know. Yeah. It's fun. It's a fun week, but shout out to the people who can process that. I am famously terrible at looking at a card and be like, that's good. And someone's like, that card? I'm like, is it bad? They're like, oh, it's bad. I'm like, all right. I vibe with it. I see a card and I'm like, the vibe of it feels good.
yeah, it feels great. Yeah, and Charlie, everybody's reveals are crazy. Although people are stepping up the reveals more and more. It's so much pressure now when you get one.
It is, right? It's like I call it the content creator talent show season because it turns into a talent show. It's like, all right, what's your talent? Is it acting, singing, dancing? You can't just
Cosplay.
reveal the card, although some people do. And shout out to them for saying, I'm just going to reveal the card. And they're like, I will not be dancing, singing, or making a go kart. Some people make go karts.
It's still sitting in my driveway. Like I don't know.
It's a
If
no
someone's
go
gonna.
kart.
Yeah. Aaron's like, I'm just gonna bring it to the dump, and I'm like, you can't. That's a 1968 theme park go kart. I paid $400 for it. I have to sell it.
It's a stay cart. You have to find a really big Illuminators fan in the area who will buy it for a nice, at least $10.
Right. And haul it. So honestly, it almost went. We did a viewing party here in Austin for Worlds, and Dan of Family Quests.
I know, right? Big changes here, guys.
Big rebrand. Dan of Family Quests almost got somebody to pick it up and bring it to the event, which was cool. The problem with auctioning the go-kart ABBC, I would totally do that. I would do it for charity. Like, I don't care. Problem is somebody has to pick it up, and it is heavy. It needs a trailer to move. Like, you cannot lift it, so it can't go on like a pickup or something. So if somebody wants to arrange to come like pick it up, I will totally auction that thing. But I don't know how anybody's gonna get it. Aaron just wants it out of the driveway. So
And that's fair. Honestly, we've all been there. So who amongst us has had a thing in the driveway that you don't want in the driveway?
Yeah. I've got a go-kart for reasons. And the neighbors, I don't know what the neighbors think. Katie, what was your favorite part of the weekend? Or favorite moment even?
That's tricky. There's one part that I quite enjoyed, like on a personal level, because like what I really like is there's a moment that I think I've had in Lurkana and in general where like I'm in the room and I'm like, I can't do this. Like I'm not good at talking. I don't know how to talk to humans. How do I do this? And like our first round is always like so exciting because like you're sitting there and you're like, how do I do this? How do you even talk about this game? So like once we're live, like that's one of my favorite moments because it goes from being like this thing where you're like, I can't do it to be like, oh yeah, this is the thing we do and we love it. So that's like one of my favorite moments because it was like the moment that I finally relaxed once we went live. And then my other favorite moment was I found out one of my players from my local where I used to live in Colorado had a red ruby amethyst deck that was doing okay. They made day 2 and I showed it to Baker and like the shared enjoyment, like the crossover of A, working with Baker, but B, seeing someone from my local and then being able to take it to them and then make both of them happy. And then he ended up on stream and then he shouted out JDRR's Flower Farm group. And it was like this huge culmination of just like somebody you know baking, somebody you work with that you used to watch on YouTube, but is now kind of like a peer. And it was just like this thing where it's like, wow, it's like all of it coming together. And I love Lorcana events because it truly feels like a crossover episode where you have all these like plot lines and they just converge to this point and there's nothing more magical than just like saying, I don't know, it's surreal. It's very surreal when all those little plot lines intersect and it makes your world that feels very big and confusing feel very comfortable and small and magical. So that was a big highlight for me. What about you, Liam?
That was so well said. I don't
That's it. Your favorite moment was on I explained my favorite moment. And it
I
was
think so. Because you hit, there's a number of things that you totally nailed, and I didn't even realize that was something I enjoyed about the weekend. But like, yeah, seeing various aspects of my life and people that I interact with, whether it's locally or, you know, with this part of the Lorcana community or that part of the Lorcana community, but everybody in the same room interacting is very cool.
It's surreal. It's so weird because we spend so much time being like, oh, you know, the internet and like parasocial friendships and things where it's like, you know, those are Discords and those are Twitter friends. But I've realized that some of the best friendships I've made in my life, I've made over the computer. And sometimes then you just go to dinner with these people and you laugh and you share stickers and it's like no time has passed and it's like you've known them forever. And so it makes it where the whole thing, I believe my whole life, and the internet's just like a place you know, play games. And it's just like, it's been one of the most important parts of my adult life is the friendships I've made on the internet. And it's kind of cool to have that payoff.
That's a wonderful point. And
it could be sad. Somebody could be making fun of me being like, she makes friends on the internet, but it's true. They're really great people inside this computer box.
case in point. I also, by the way, I I did very much enjoy our round together, and one of the things that struck me is we. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Lane Schaefer. Just before I finish my point, Lane Schaefer says, just want to hop on and say thank you for being so nice to my kids at the DLC. Thank you for like being there and just being a joy. Like, your kids are wonderful, and it was such a, I don't know, it was great seeing the whole family, and I don't know, I appreciate you all as well. So I also really appreciated round one. It was the perfect way to start the DLC as well. Because truly, Katie, like, I don't know if it's the number of times we've worked together or the CCSs that we've spent just in the booth like all day or whatever, or just like natural vibing. But like, I was saying this to some people after the round, like I genuinely feel like without whatever the meta, whatever the event, like we could sit down in the booth together and just vibe and play off each other and have a great event. And so, I very much enjoyed the one round that we got to do together. It was a ton of fun.
Yeah, and it's so easy. Like it's so funny. You take. I think I messaged you that you take for granted how easy it is, because like you said in Charlie's, we're there pretty much the whole day with the exception of a few breaks. And yeah, it's to the point where like I don't even think like when I cast them, I'm like, well, I'm not gonna, because I mean, it's just it's kind of like what is it? Like I assume it's like figure skating. Is that a good metaphor? I don't know. It's like figure skating. We're figure skating. I've been watching a lot of figure skating videos on TikTok this week. But either way, it's like you have like this like trust kind of thing where I'm like, oh yeah, I just talk, and it's very easy, which I quite enjoy, because sometimes the things we talk about are not easy to talk about. Case in point, monster combo deck. Looking at you. And it was so funny when I got the Monstro. We knew in advance I would be casting the Monstro round, and you looked at me, you're like, I learned all these things. I'm like, oh no. And I was like, how do I just get pocket Liam? And so because I was like, I understand the deck, but not like that. You were like ready. You're like, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, no, Liam, help. I don't know what you're saying. Help.
Study. That's the other fun thing about it. Like, we all have our own like niche kind of. And that was also a ton of fun because even like I had to do a Ruby Amethyst match, and that deck is not one that I've spent a ton of time on, because even though it is competitively viable, they're colors that I hate. I don't hate them, but I'm scarred.
It's not your preferred pairing.
It's not my preferred pairing. I'm still scarred from like, no pun intended, from like the Floodborne meta.
Right. Yeah. And that was so oppressive.
Yeah. So I won't. The Minnie Mouse Surfer Wars still have me reeling, but it's not my preferred color pairing. And even in this meta, even though I was prepared to broadcast it a little, it's like it was 5% of the meta. And so if you're going to spend your time focused on decks, you're going to spend about 5% of your time focused on it. So going into that round, I knew I was going to commentate that deck, and I went to Baker, and I think I even chatted with you a little bit about like, hey, what is this deck? And tell me how you think about it. And but we all have like our like little pet decks and our pet colors and our little pockets of knowledge, and it does make it fun at these events that we all get to share that we can share that. And so between everybody there, we kind of have everything covered. That's kind of neat. So.
It is. Yeah. And being able to go on the fly, because there's what you think will happen, and then what ends up happening, and you're like, all right, we go with it. If you would have told me it would be a blue-green mirror at the end, I would not have believed you, but it was.
I wouldn't have either. Yeah, the reason I wouldn't. Yeah. I wouldn't have, because despite everybody, I think it's a great deck for the Swiss rounds. But what concerned me about it in the finals was it has a deck that basically knocks it out, and it runs into dogs, and it's a very tough match. And so what I thought was, as you got into the finals and you charted any particular deck's route from the top 32 to the finals, that somewhere in that top bracket, it is likely or possible, or very, very possible, that they'd run into like one of the two dogs decks, and it would just knock them out. And that's why I thought Amethyst Steel was the most consistent deck, and it would stand it because it doesn't really have any bad matchups. And I was terribly wrong.
Terribly. I mean, it was in the top 4. For folks not paying attention, it was pretty wrong, but not terribly wrong, I think, from the scale of how wrong things can be. Right. But
partially wrong. I was a little wrong.
Yes. I was terribly wrong by thinking. I didn't think there'd be an amber seal. It was my outlandish that there'd be one in the top 32. But I was hoping like one aggro crazy brew would make it through, but that did not happen. But amethyst, that's just not a thing. Amethyst amber had a deck. So two amethyst ambers made it into the top 32, I think. Maybe just one. Probably just
one what? Amethyst.
Just one amethyst amber made it in the top 32. Was it just Zan or was there another one?
It was 3 actually. I was corrected yesterday because I didn't remember the other 2 because we didn't see them.
No,
but I was reminded that 3 made it in, Zan, and then 2 of the mid range.
Nice, and I love that. I love that like that kind of snuck in there. It was like something that people said, wait a minute, the combo is cool, but what if we just made it really good? Just a mid range deck, and they're like, oh, okay, it's brilliant. And then a burn deck made it through. Congratulations on that. And people saying, listen, there's other decks out there, okay?
Yeah. Raise, I see you said hello. Hello. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, so the Amethyst Amber one is an interesting one because I did think it was well positioned. And when you look at the math, it was 5% of the room. And if you take out OTK, like it was probably, let's say 4.5 for that, like that mid-range deck. And 2 out of the top 32 were that deck. So from a percentage perspective, it converted pretty well.
Yeah.
And I think it was a good choice. Although both those other versions got knocked out in the top 32, which is a bummer.
Yeah, still going to Disneyland, so, you know. But yeah, I could imagine how tired. Like I was thinking that, yeah, if you played in the finals, it only was out of 5 round, but then they played 8 plus 8 before then. So they played 15 or 16 rounds, right?
Yeah.
Because 4 and then, 4 rounds and then 9. So like total, if you play all of them, it's 17 rounds of Disney Lurkana. And that's just like crazy. Shouldn't be possible. But I guess Fungus had played 20 hours a day. So it makes sense. But
That's true. Yeah. Fungus is a machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's with the cat and the cactus, ABBC? Look, I'm bad at Twitch. And so I got Streamlabs, and then I found a template that I liked, and I used it. And the cat and the cactus came with it. So
the cat and the cactus with Liam and Katie. Welcome to the cat and the cactus every night.
And every now and then its tail curls like it's doing now, and it's happy. So I wish their windows were different, Katie, and that you had a different chill animal, like maybe a hedgehog, maybe a lo-fi hedgehog.
A lo-fi hedgehog. Honestly, fair.
I'm not good at these things. So if somebody wants to design me a new little window for my
please help for just $1 a day. You can help Liam. But Liam, I have drank my sleepy time tea, which is what I have been sipping on, and now it is time for me to watch Severance, which I have to rewatch the episode I watched last night because I fell asleep. So it's going to take twice as long, quite frankly.
Well, thank you, Katie, for hanging out. It is. I've invited you to do this, I think, once before or after DLC, and like it helps me with my post DLC, like, I don't know, sadness. So thanks for.
Oh, I cannot express how. Like I realized today because like I've been kind of like I was tired. And then now I'm sad. First I was tired. Now I'm sad. Because it is like, I realize it's so surreal because like, it's like that meme where like, it's like that sad person on his corner. It's like, nobody knows I had a bunch of fun at Disney Lorcana this weekend. But it is like truly surreal to be in a room where it's just like the highest energy you could ever hope for, doing the number one thing you'd want to do with like all these cool people and everyone's dressed up and having fun and there's stuff and magic. And then like you go back to work and like nobody knows how much fun you had. And you really can't tell them to because like that's kind of weird to be like, oh yeah, I have this other job and it's way cooler than this one and I have so much more fun. And so yeah, it's so weird. And like it's also like an extra layer of sadness because the next one's in 6 months and I'm trying to not, because yes, there'll be other events, but as everybody who's been to a DLC knows, they're just like a little different. There's other events, it's very fun, but nothing's a DLC like a DLC. So the sadness is heavy, but this helps a little bit. But still, I'm like, if I could go back this weekend, I'd do it. Would I be probably tired and probably die? Yeah, but I'd do it in a heartbeat because there's nothing that beats it. So
yeah, I agree with everything. So all that is to say, thanks for hanging out, and I appreciate you, and enjoy Severance season 2.
Season 2, yeah. it's exciting because we thought we only had 2 episodes left, but turns out we skipped an entire episode a couple episodes ago. So we had 3 episodes left, which is always so thrilling. So very excited.
Enjoy. And
Thanks.
Thanks again for chilling.
Yeah. All right. To you.
All right. Take it easy. See, there we go. See, it's funny. I don't know what I'm doing on Twitch, but I still have Streamlabs to make me look like, I don't know, I know what I'm doing. But it's all a veneer. So if anyone wants to design cool stuff, I don't have emojis either. Like, I know that's a thing. I don't know how to create like emojis for the channel. So I don't even know what to do. Like, I have no idea what my emoji would be. Probably like a red panda of some type or a hedgehog doing something. So if anybody knows an emoji designer who knows how to then like put stuff on Twitch, let me know. Because you all deserve emojis for being here and hanging out and doing the follow thing and all that stuff. So, yeah, sorry for everyone saying I was trying to figure out how to make things for the channel, things for channel points. Yeah, I don't know what to do. I have no idea how to do that. So I need help. I want a button which says like, redeem 1,000 channel points to make me, I don't know, do jumping jacks or something, or hydrate, I guess is the thing that people do. I don't know. So, anyway, yeah. Cinnamon Andy, hey, thanks for joining me. I see you with all the cool emojis. Thanks for jumping in. I'm going to hang out just a little bit longer, not too much longer, because I've got to do some mailing and stuff and get some sleep. But I will hang out just a bit longer. And if anybody has any more questions about the DLC or about Lorcana, by the way, hey, Glumineers, thanks for jumping in. Demetrius and Jatana, it was wonderful seeing you and your son this weekend. I appreciate you and all the wonderful pictures. And yeah. Oh, Illuminator Champions League. Hey, Luke, thanks for jumping in. Yeah. So anyway, there's any questions about the weekend, please let me know. Raze, thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. Wonderland, thanks for switching accounts and saying hi. But yeah, so any questions about the weekend? Otherwise, I'm going to ramble just a little bit longer. Wonderland, I do have your signed Maelstrom chip right here, which I super appreciate. Eric, you want me to? I can go get them. You're talking about the signed player cards? They're in another room, but I can go get them in a minute. And I will sign them off or show them off. I also got artist signed cards. I was really excited for that. I don't know if people realize how rare it is for John Lauren to sign cards. So I guess people probably do, but it was really cool having him this weekend. And I wish I could have gotten a few hundred signed, but I got 3. So, Ray, great meeting you this weekend as well. Jealous of the snazzy jacket. Yeah. That was, I'm assuming you're talking about the white one. The white one was a random Facebook ad purchase, which just happened to work out. The thing about ordering jackets online, I knew like once they sent me, I ordered this jacket and then they sent me an email. And they're like, hey, can you send us some more specific measurements? Because we're tailoring this specifically to you. And I'm like, this is going to be good. And that's really great. So I don't know how many events it's going to make it through before it like gets discolored or stained or whatever. But I feel like it's my Saturday jacket now at DLC. So it'll probably continue for a while until I find something cooler. So Team Misplay says, what was the thing that you signed that stood out this weekend? First off, I have to say, the fact that anybody asks me to sign anything is still very surreal to me. In a good way. Like, it's kind of a surreal thing, like to be asked to sign something. And because I just feel like a normal person who happens to randomly, talk about card games. And the fact that anybody thinks enough about what I do on stream on like the DLCs to like want a signature is really, really special. And I appreciate it very much. But I still find it an honor and a pleasure anytime anybody asks me to sign anything. So yeah. Lane Schaefer, that was where I was going to go. So there's a couple things. Like I signed a bunch of cards this weekend. I think I was asked to sign an Enchanted once, which was a little surreal. Signed a bunch of cards, a bunch of deck boxes, a bunch of playmats. The two things that stood out that were different than those, like the traditional stuff, is one, somebody asked me to sign a Ravensburger puzzle, which I thought was really cool. So the whole, or a Lorcana puzzle. So the whole front of the puzzle box had like signatures of all the casters and world's competitors and artists and stuff on it. And, I signed it in the corner. And I thought it was really cool because you could definitely, like, it displays well. You can sit it on a shelf and you can, write on the bottom, like, Richmond DLC. And I thought that was great. Also, Skify18, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate you. I thought you were, no, we follow each other on Twitter. That's right. So thanks for following me on Twitch. But then, yeah, I think the shirts, Lane Schaefer, the shirts was a ton of fun. I don't think I've ever signed a shirt before. But it was so fun. Your kids were like, here's the marker, here's the shirts. Like, where do you want to sign? And that was a ton of fun for me. So, that was really great. And this is random, but like the fact that they were wearing them means like it leads to some interesting patterns in the signature, which is really kind of fun and cool. I thought it was neat. So that was probably the coolest thing with the puzzle and then the shirts. Ray's, what's my favorite card? I think now my favorite card, it's always a tough question to answer. And for a while I didn't know because it changes set to set, but I think now it has to be, and probably will forever be, the Aurora Dreaming Guardian. That was a special card to us when it came out. It was one of our favorite pieces of art when it came out. We did a whole video on it. It was our best performing Disney Lorcana video for a long time. And for that reason, I think that's why we got to reveal that it was being reprinted at Gen Con. And that was a very, very, very special memory. And not only that, but I got a ton of flack online for getting excited about like a non-meta relevant card. And so I defended it and it was a whole thing. But anyway, so like not the enchanted version, like the Nicholas Cole normal version. But when people ask me now what my favorite card is, that's generally it. And when I sign it, I like to do like the metallic blue Sharpie with a shadow on it. So it really pops on the card. So I think that's my favorite card. So my trip back was smooth sailing, except I was exhausted. I can't SK5 18. That's what I'm going to go with. It was very, very, it was good. It was smooth. But I was very tired. I only slept for an hour the night before because I had a 7 a.m. flight and I stayed up until 3:30. It was terrible decision making. And, so I was kind of a zombie, but it means I slept the whole flight. So, there was that. Am I going to attempt to play at any of the DLCs? I get asked this question all the time. And my answer is I don't know. So like full disclosure, I have had tickets to play in Atlanta, Dallas, Vegas, and tickets to play in Milwaukee, tickets to play in Richmond, because I want to go to the DLC. So whether or not I feel like I'm going to be competitive, I want to go. So I always buy tickets to play in the competitive event. But then I get asked to broadcast, and so I don't play. If there were ever a scenario where I weren't asked to broadcast, then I would probably try and play, I think. But I don't know how well I would do at this point. I used to be a very, very good player a couple of years ago. I just don't get the time to practice as much. So I play now, but I don't get to grind the games that I used to. And consequently, I'm not as competitive playing as I used to be. Although I do talk to a lot of competitive players for the broadcast, and I do a lot of interviews, and I pick their brains. And so I understand the meta, etc., but it's not the same as actually playing the game. So I don't play as much as I would like. But to answer your question, I think if I wasn't I will always 100% of the time prioritize broadcasting and commentating over playing. It is so much fun. It is a dream. It is an honor. I don't think I would ever be in a scenario where they're like, you can broadcast or you can play, and I would pick playing. But if there were ever a scenario that arose where I was not broadcasting a DLC, I think I would try to play in it, and we would see how I do. I hope it's not the Infinity DLC though, because I have Infinity is going to be a trip, so I might need to hire an Infinity coach. So yeah. Oh my goodness. I see you, Juan. Camarada. Every single time, I know I feel for you all down there. Says on YouTube that he's still waiting. Latin America still waiting for Disney Lorcana official. I completely agree with you, and I hope it shows up, where you are soon. But I appreciate so much you jumping on streams and mentioning it and beating that drum. And I'm sure that the other Lorcana fans in your community appreciate it as well. So yeah. Especially with 12 sets available. Yeah, I really have no idea which way Infinity is going to go, other than the fact that it's going to be probably blue steel heavy. But yeah, so, which are not my, blue steel is not my, they're not my colors of choice. So, but maybe I'll hire like RMB to coach me or something. Yeah, thanks Team Misplay. Team Misplay says, thanks for being a genuine human being and choosing to put in the work to provide us with the content that you do. I appreciate you saying that so much. It is a lot of work. But I don't know. It's fun and it has its own rewards, but it is a lot. It's not, it's a lot of work, but any content creator will tell you it's not monetary. But it is like the support that we get from people. And when people tell you that they watch what you do, like if I had a choice between publishing a video and it paying me, let's say hypothetically $50, let's say, which is believe it or not, in the Lorcana space, a video that makes you $50 is a pretty good video, and you seldom ever make that on a video, at least mine. But let's say I had a choice between a video, like publishing it and making $50, or it resulting in 5 people coming up and telling me that they enjoyed the video. I would pick people telling me they enjoyed the video every time, because that like experience of somebody telling you they enjoyed like a work of art that you created, and that's what a video is. It's art. People telling you that they enjoyed the art that you created means more than, almost any monetary reward. So anyway, I appreciate you. Sapphire Steel is the only choice. Yeah, that's what I hear. Ninja Harley, like that's what I hear. Flavisham's that good. So I don't know. I really hope the DLC is not just a ton of Sapphire Steel mirrors, but that might be the case. In which case it'll be fun to commentate, I guess, or yeah, maybe not so fun for playing. NC Jake says on Twitch, as somebody who is just getting into Lorcana after this weekend, what content creators would you recommend? That is a fascinating question, and it all depends on what you're looking for. One, I'm going to say this. If you're in the chat now, answer Jake's question. He's on Twitch, and he just asked, what content creators would you follow if you're just getting into Lorcana now? So there's a ton of them out there, and people in the chat right now will give you their recommendations. So watch the chat. But it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for like high level, like competitive play, if you're a tournament grinder and you're looking for like the very best of the best, and I'm going to blank out on names of podcasts and stuff, and I'm really, really sorry, but Zan and Jeremy's podcast, somebody remind me of the name, but Zan Sied's podcast where he talks about the competitive meta is a very, very good one. Podcana is another one, and I know it's on a hiatus right now, but I hear rumors, so keep an eye out for Podcana. It's another great podcast. For competitive content, also follow Team Maelstrom. They do Lab Rats as a series that they do, and they release periodically, but they do some good content as well. Okay, it's been announced later Wonderland. Okay, so Podcana announced. Okay, good. Oh, they announced back tonight. Where'd they announce it? It was like on Twitter, or they do a live stream? But oh, I bet you Garrick did it on the ICL, yeah? Yeah, okay, Club Lorcana, that's it. So take a look at Podcana, take a look at Club Lorcana. The Articast is another good one. That's a great recommendation, Eric, for competitive play. Artifacts and Lorcana decks are amazing. Lorcana villain, no matter what type of Lorcana content you're into, is also, I would say, a must. If you're looking for like if it's not just competitive content, but like competitive but a little more laid back, JDZ is a fantastic creator you can follow. He's always doing various stuffs, and he's absolutely a creator you should follow. I love Enchanted Chatter. They're also Wednesday nights. They're a really fun, laid-back podcast talking about competitive play and set champs and stuff. And Courtney and Bree are wonderful. We're throwing a lot of stuff at you. That's another great podcast. Obviously, Monday nights you should watch Let's Talk Lorcana. No, I'm just kidding, but you could. So we live stream every Monday night. We have a live show from 8 to 9:30 every Monday, where Zenulus, Logan of Team Maelstrom, and I chat about Lorcana. Also, I got a sick hat of the DLC. Yeah. Check us out every Monday night. So also to watch some great Lorcana play, Luke is here, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention the ICL, the Illuminator, oh goodness gracious, league. It's been a long weekend, but the ICL is fantastic. They do streams every Tuesday and Wednesday where some of the best teams play each other. And the fun thing about the ICL, if you're into competitive play and DLCs, is not only do you get to see some fun Lorcana, but you get to see some of the commentator personalities in the community, but you also get familiarized with some of the best teams out there. And the reason it's fun learning about the teams is that makes watching streams a bit more fun, where you can kind of follow some of the teams that you enjoy. But also, if you like some of the teams that you see, you can then connect with them because a lot of them have Metafies, content, Discord servers of their own. And so if you're into competitive play at all, the ICL exposes you to these teams, which can then get you linked in with like their community. So the ICL is also fantastic. There's so much. Rules of Villainy. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Rules of Villainy. Another wonderful podcast. Great group of folks. I love them a lot. Gosh, we're just going on and on here. The Illuminator Champions League. Thank you, Luke. I'm sorry, I'm terrible. Yeah. Ninja Harley, who I shouted out way earlier as well. Additional Ink. Additional Ink is fun because they do multiplayer content. And here's the thing. Like, even if you're a competitive player or not, like, multiplayer is one of the best ways to play the game, in my opinion. Commander style, but 4-player is wonderful, and it's a low-key way to play the game. And Additional Ink is, I would argue, the most well-produced in-person Lorcana content available. They use black magic cameras, multi-camera, and it's just a lot of fun. It's the closest you'll get to game nights in Lorcana right now. So Additional Ink is also fantastic. Team Misplay is pointing out Lorcana Goons. It's another great channel to follow. Lorcana Goons is a competitive podcast or a competitive channel, but they also focus on market watch and prices and that kind of thing. So you can, if that's your thing, following like market prices as they shift around, Goons is a good one. Another one I'll mention, this is kind of random, or two actually. There's two channels who focus very much on like pack openings and box openings. That's kind of their lane, and exploring products. And some people just really like that. And I'll shout them out. Living Lorcana and Digital Ink are two channels that are on my radar and are actually doing fairly well. And I actually enjoy both of those. But a lot of that is just pack opening, box opening. So it's not like competitive play. Was that enough? I think that was a lot. It's a good question. But that's thanks for the follow, by the way, NC Jake. But those are all different ones, and so it depends on if you're into like market watch versus competitive play versus like social play versus just fun facts versus like artist facts versus just chill hangouts. There's so much out there, and depending on what vein you're into, it would depend on which one of those I would recommend. But everything that I said, I would stand by, and everything that chat said, I would as well. So. yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, Saffron says, sounds like I got a sick hat of the DLC. Yeah, I did. You saw me wearing this. This was it's my favorite new hat. I love collecting team hats. I have a whole wall full of them now. Yeah, if anybody has a team and you make hats, send me one. If you don't make hats, you should make one and then send me one. I don't know. I like teams a lot. I know they have their drawbacks and the fact that, you know, the rich get rich and the rich stay rich because of all the support and all that. But I love the team aspect. I love the social aspect of people preparing for events and supporting each other during events and seeing different jerseys and the different groups at DLCs. So I like the creativity that goes into the logos. So I like collecting these little bits and bobs from different teams, and hats are kind of a fun way to do that. So and then what I want to do, like for, you know, Luke, what I want to do is on the ICL, hopefully one day I can make like pre-shows more. And I want to, when people ask me what team I think is going to win, I want to be able to, like, was it Lee Corso who used to do this? I want to be able to put on the hat of the team I think is going to win. So that's my goal. So fun fact, I have an SSG hat, and I don't think they exist anymore. So there's that. List of everything Liam shared for competitive. Oh yeah. There we go. Thanks for capturing all that. Yeah, these are all like competitive stuff, and I think most of Lorcana content right now is on the competitive side, and frankly, that's because that's where the views are. For the most part, there are some other channels that focus on like introductory level stuff or just news, like straight up, you know, this is what happened this week. But it's not on the competitive side. Inkborn Heroes is one that do that. But I think the preponderance of the Lorcana content is like quote unquote competitive focused, because that's what people want to see for the most part. Although I guess some people just want to hang out and chat in the evening, listen to lo-fi music. So, yeah. So any other questions before I get close to wrapping this up? Got your starter deck in the mail today. That's fantastic. Yeah. Okay. Podcanter's return tracking. What else did I miss in the comments? Yeah. Oh, okay. The Enchanted Table asks, what character are you looking forward to the most that hasn't got a card? I think that's easy. Like, there's two I'll put out. One is Wall-E, which I teased earlier. I think Wall-E is the best Pixar movie, and I'll stand by that. And I'm looking forward to a Wall-E card. But I think I'm really, really, really excited for Turning Red. I love that film so much. I don't know why. I recognize it's a good film, and it's not as good as how much I love it. But I'm very, very excited for a Mei card, a Mei Red Panda card. And I'm sure there's going to be some sort of mechanic where you can switch from Mei to the Red Panda. Maybe it's a Floodborn, maybe it's a Floodborn mechanic or whatever. But really, really, really excited for that. And I'm so excited because it's been teased, and so we know it's coming. I thought it would be years before we get Mei, and it's coming sooner than I expected. So when that card comes out, it might be my favorite card in place of Aurora. I don't know, but that's the one I'm most excited about. Any other questions? All right. I do love Up, Sephron says. Yeah, Up is good. I feel like, and don't take this the wrong way, I feel like people confuse Up for like the first 10 minutes of Up. The first 10 minutes of Up are like some of the best, most tear-jerking, emotional, like 10 minutes in all of like film history. Like, it's so good. It's so good, that montage. And I don't know. The rest of the movie's pretty good. I do feel like it falls into a traditional like villain hero trope. You you meet the hero, you think he's the good guy, and then he turns out to be the bad guy, and I don't know, it becomes a little more predictable. But I do, I guess, appreciate Carl's like hero's journey. But I don't know. I like Up a lot. I do think it's not as good as Wall-E, but it's still very good. But it also, all right, this wasn't where I was going to go, but I also think Pixar is at its best when it's being original and creating original films and not sequels. And I do appreciate Up as an original film and as an original property. I will take them every time they like misfire with a film like Dinosaur or Onward. I didn't think was that great. For everyone they misfire on, they give us some like gold, like Coco or Inside Out. And so for that reason, I will take, I would much prefer them taking shots on or multiple originals a year than Toy Story 6 or 7 or 8. Because I don't know that there's anything you can do with Toy Story at this point now, after Toy Story 3, that is as impactful as movies like Inside Out or Coco or Wall-E or Up or Ratatouille. I even think Luca is a very good film, by the way. Not amazing, but anyway. Team Misplaces Wish. Elio! I have to watch Elio again. I watched it once, and I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it, but I need to watch it like one or two more times to like really see what I think about it. I really appreciate its originality, though, and big fan of the world that they built. So I super appreciate them trying it. And I don't think it was advertised very well, which is why it probably didn't do very well. But I love that they take a shot on it. Wish, I don't know what I'm still so torn on Wish. Wish is Wish is a whole thing. I won't get into Wish. I want a full Muppet set, but it's played as if the cards are who they are. We get a Rapunzel card, but the art is Miss Piggy. That would be fascinating. That'd be fascinating. I don't know. That'd be fascinating because it does vibe with like what the Muppets are. They, in Muppet Treasure Island, they actually are like, Smollett or Mr. Arrow. It's not called, so-and-so as Mr. Arrow. It's like, that's literally their character. So you could do that. Which would be super fascinating. I mean, I guess you do see that too with like DuckTales. You have Mr. Scrooge as Mr. Scrooge. So they do kind of do that already. But yeah, that'd be interesting to see the Muppets pull in. Give me a Roger Rabbit Enchanted. Yeah. I'd love to see Roger Rabbit pulled in. But one day. I really think that they should use anything outside of like Disney or Pixar proper sparingly. So I want to see things like the Muppets. I want to see things like Roger Rabbit. I want to see things like even Anastasia, believe it or not, which Disney now owns. But I want to see them sparingly to maintain the core Disney feel with like sprinklings of variety and not lean too hard into like other properties. Because you could go hog wild with like Simpsons and all kinds of other stuff. But I prefer they not do that. All right. I'm just gonna make sure I hit all the questions, and then we will get close to calling it. No way, Anastasia's goated. Yeah. So Anastasia is like the closest you get to a Disney film outside of Disney, I feel like, and there's a whole story too about Don Bluth who created Anastasia and his rift with Disney, and it's a whole, like, if you haven't read about Don Bluth's career, it's wild and so much fun and great character. But yeah, Anastasia feels like a Disney film, and I could totally see that being brought into the Disney universe. In fact, I've heard rumors that there were actually some Disney pins at the park, like they were trying it out, and there's actually a few pins, like Disney official pins that be created for Anastasia. But it's very, very close. It's Disney adjacent. And one of the things that makes it Disney adjacent is it not only is the art style and the story and everything great, but it maintained the Disney Renaissance tradition of the actual musical with the characters I Want song. Heart Don't Fail Me Now, but even that, there's a second I Want song with Once Upon a December, which is fantastic and brilliant. You have the villain, like, I Want song, which is reminiscent of Scar's songs and everything else. And, like, the music is just so good that that film is very much Disney adjacent. And I would kill to see it in Lorcana. Not actually, but, like, not actually kill it, I'd be very excited to see it in Lorcana. But I would. Yeah, Roger Rabbit, I'm not sure what the relationship is with that. That's a fair point. Soundtrack is crazy good on Anastasia. It crazy is. It's just... And it hits... Okay, last thing on Anastasia. It hits all the right notes. Like, it has the I Want song. It has, from the very beginning, and it has the villain song. But then, like, Once Upon a December is just one of the greatest songs ever created for an animated Disney... Or for an animated film. Once Upon a December is... absolutely wonderful. Not only the way it starts on like a solo note, and it's very, very low key, and then it gets this orchestral, like, big thing in the middle, and then it finishes small. And even the symbolism or like the scenery in the movie where the ghosts come out of the windows and they're dancing all around her and she can see it in her mind. Like, Once Upon a December is one of the best songs in any animated film, especially when it's coupled with the scene from the movie. If they ever did a Once Upon a December card, like, I would bawl. It is, and yeah, Anastasia's goated. So yeah, Don Bluth did. Anastasia used to work for Disney. Yeah, he did, and he had a huge falling out, and it was a whole thing. It's a good point, and yeah, a ton of fun. Enchanted Table. Any advice, both technically and an area you'd recommend for an aspiring content creator? For an aspiring content creator, it's a tough question because it all depends on where you're at. The one thing I will say on the technical side, so the one thing I'll say for any content creator, aspiring or otherwise, is, like, just do it. With anything in life, but with content creation in particular, it's a mistake to think that you have to have all the tech and everything figured out before you go. There is something to launching, like, a polished channel, but to be frank, like, your journey as a creator, starting from, very, very rough videos all the way through wherever you end up, is part of the charm of who you are. And so no matter where you're at in terms of tech or skill or script writing or video editing or any of it, like, the number one piece of advice is just start creating content, because you also won't know what you need to improve and where you're at until you start doing it. And your audience, as they find you, will appreciate watching you grow. They'll appreciate watching you grow. So that's number one. But on the technical side, I'm not sure what you're referring to in terms of, like, equipment or, stream setup or anything. But I guess the one simplest piece of advice is sound matters more than video, believe it or not. Your video can be a little rough, and that's fine if you're using a webcam. For the first, like, 2 years of this channel, or year and a half, we used, like, the FaceTime embedded webcam on my computer, and it shot at 720, not 1080, and it was fine. What was always good, though, was our audio, and we started with a $150 Blue Yeti mic. And now I have these dynamic mics, and I've got the mixer over here, you can see, and multiple independent channels. But your audio matters more than your video. So don't stress out about getting good video content before you focus on the audio, because people will be turned off a lot more by bad audio than they will rough video. So I will say that too. Lighting is also very, very important, by the way, and I have some stand lights here. You can't really see them, but they're these giant lights on stands right here and right here, which provide the lighting, and that's also very important. So as you work on your video, but the first thing is focus on your audio first, and then your video. I could go on about other advice, but I'll just leave it there. Get started and worry about your audio first. Yeah. So a couple things. One, I'll answer questions in reverse order. Saucy Lit, aka Lurkana Kid, says, what deck? One, It was Emerald Sapphire. It was blue-green with no ink geysers, just straight up blue-green, 246, not detective build, like 246 ramp. And that deck actually also took second place. So it was a mirror in the final. The deck lists were one card off. And I think the difference being a John Silver and an Improvise swapped in terms of their numbers. And so Emerald Sapphire crushed it this weekend. It converted very well. That's what won. Enchanted Table also, I think we've talked before about some other stuff, but I know we've chatted before, but send me a note anytime on Discord or Twitter, like Discord preferred, but on any platform if you want any advice at all on content creation. And that goes for anybody. I don't know all that much about content creation, believe it or not, but I've been doing it for a bit. And if there's anything I can help anybody with in terms of advice or, equipment or anything else, send me a note. I'm more than happy to help. More than happy to help with whatever you need. Tegan's saying lighting's super important, but sound is major. I think you're right. I think the lighting is important. The video is important. But if you have to pick between investing in like sound or video, go for the sound first. Make sure you're great on sound, and then make sure your video is good after that. Future GBF sleeping on Yerple mid-range. That deck was also very good this weekend. It didn't win, but 5% yellow or amber amethyst. I guess that's Yerple mid-range. So yellow purple was 5% of the meta. Of that, probably like let's say 0.5% was probably OTW or OTK. Let's say 1% just for fun. So like 4% of the room then was yellow purple mid-range, and it converted. There are 3 yellow purple decks that converted into the top 32, which is then about 10%. But one of those was OTK. So you go from 5% in the main event to what is it? Like 12, 13%, something like that, of the like 15% of the top 32 is very, very good. So it actually did very well this weekend. And I think it probably would have done even better if it was on the radar long enough for people to get more reps in. Because I think a lot of people switched to it rather late because it didn't pop up on the radar till late. But it was a very, very good deck for the weekend, and it converted very, very well. So, Shop Hanj, we need a setup walkthrough. I like my setup. Like, you want a walkthrough of? Are you asking for like us to do some content on like our setup walkthrough? Because I can do that. Or are you asking for like us to help you like walk through an ideal setup? I'm not sure. Robbie C Gaming, who has a lot of content, says, appreciate watching. I totally agree with me on the audio mattering. Got my first 40K subs on the DG channel just using my iPhone to shoot. That's fantastic. If you can get 40K subs doing anything, like, that's fantastic. So, the iPhone makes great video. Great video. The audio is always the trick with the iPhone, but you can get some little lab mics and stuff which do very well. And if all you're doing is using the iPhone for video and then like talking over it, iPhone is perfect for any type of content that you're doing. Although if you're going to do mobile content, the DJI Osmo is like, it's one of the best pieces of tech ever created. I will stand by that. DJI Osmo 3 is wonderful if you're doing mobile stuff. Audio, video, it does it all. Rode Wireless Go system was clutch. Yeah, I need to get into that. Like, does that integrate with your iPhone, Robbie C? I assume yes, because I think that's what JD was using this weekend, was some sort of Rode wireless system working with his iPhone. So I need to get on that in case I'm using my iPhone instead of the, because the Osmo is great. The thing with the thing you can't do with it is stream from it. And so the great thing about the Rode system is you can do like mobile streaming on your iPhone and then use that system. And I think that's what JD was using this weekend. Fairy Queen, yes, the DJI Osmo is very expensive, but yeah, it is very expensive. And I wish it wasn't so, but it's worth it if you can get it if you're going to do a lot of video content. But it is pricey, especially if you add on the wireless mic setup with a pair of them, which you definitely should. Although I think the Osmo comes with a single mic on its own, which is pretty darn good. But the extra package with both mics is very, very good if you're doing some mobile content. Yeah, Robbie, so you should send me a note with a link to the system that you use, because I want to use the iPhone for mobile streaming, and so I'd kind of like to pick up that system so that I can like stream while on the move with some decent audio. So I'd love to get a link to that, and hopefully it's not too expensive. Z Gaming, yeah, appreciate the advice on the creation side of things. Look forward to some videos that Uninkables has planned for recording this weekend. Very excited. Yeah. I saw you announce in the Discord, the Uninkables Discord server, that you're doing those interviews, and I think that's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So I'm excited for that. Make sure you ping me when it goes live, because I'll also like share those. Love to see teams getting into the content and highlighting their players. So if there's ever anything I can do for you content-wise, let me know. I appreciate your team very much, and I'm excited to see your videos. So I am looking forward to that very much. So if anybody is looking for, somebody asked earlier about content to watch as a new player, and I gave some answers. But if you're still here, I think that was NC Jake. The other thing I forgot to mention is if you're into Discord at all, you should also find a couple Discord servers that you kind of resonate with competitive teams or folks where you can just hang out and bounce ideas off of people. And it's another great way to absorb content and to learn. And there's several really good Discords out there. 20 Lore is one. Maelstrom is another that has a competitive team. But Uninkables is another one where you can go hang out. And they're a really good team, really good players. And it's kind of it's more low key because it doesn't have a bajillion people like some of these other servers, but they're a fun team and a fun group to hang out with. So it's another one you could go to. And they have cool hats and logos. Although I have a feeling this hat may be not one of a kind, but very, very limited edition. And if it is, I love it even more. A couple more things. Setup walkthrough. Shoot team on Instagram. Sounds good. Check them out. Yeah. Like Discords are a fun place. It's like fun to find a community where you can bounce ideas off of, and also just be in their like conversations. So where news is coming out or things like that, just finding like the right Discord community where you can just chill and absorb what's going on is also incredibly useful as a player, especially if you're someone who works full time and like doesn't have a lot of time to keep up with things. Just at the end of the day, like seeing what's going on in the zeitgeist is kind of useful. So I always appreciate a good Discord server. We have one as well. It's not super active. I'll post a link for folks, but in case anyone's interested. But it's not like there's some awesome people in there. Fairy Queen Tink is one of our mods. So it's a fun place to hang out and to just chill. But it's not as active as some of these others. But I love everybody in there, and it's kind of cool. So I'll send a link just for funsies into the chats. Discord server link going out now. So any tips on finding the right Discord community, says G3PO, whose name I love. I love clever wordplay. Any tips on finding the right Discord? It's a tough question because like what's right for you might not be right for somebody else. So I know what you're asking. It's like, how do you find the one that's right for you? I guess, the obvious answer is to try a bunch of them out and see where you vibe. So then I guess the following question is like, well, how do I find what Discord servers are out there? And this is always a funny thing because like Discord servers are always like, they're like really niche and they're like hard to like locate, you know? But I guess there's a couple ways you could do it. One, you know, you could just jump into a stream like this and ask like what people recommend, and you know, I'll throw out my recommendations in the chat wall too. Two, if you're on another social media site, like if there's a Facebook Lorcana fans Facebook group, or you know, there's Twitter as well, which is actually, you know, I know some people have moved away from Twitter, but there's actually a pretty robust Lorcana community there still. If that's a platform that you still, you know, want to be active on. I mean, you could post in either one of those places and asking for recommendations. The other thing is, I find regionally, almost every region has their own Discord server, except for like Maine, I think. That's where I'm from, and I couldn't find a Discord server there. But like if you're in the DMV region, there's a Discord server there, or South Florida, or you know, Midwest. There's all sorts of like Discord servers that are places. The other thing you could do in terms of finding Discord communities is this is a weird suggestion, but in the absence of like fishing or like asking us here or like posting places, most of the Discord servers tend to organize around either like regions or competitive teams. So if there's a competitive Lorcana team that you seem to vibe with, or players that you seem to like, probably 75% of them have a Discord server where you can go hang out in. So finding a team that you enjoy, or that has players that you want to like, you know, interact with, is another way to do it. Maelstrom is a great Discord server, for example. A lot of great players there. I enjoy them very much, and that's a place you can go hang out. World Class Cards is another. There's a whole bunch. So, but I'm not saying jump. If you want to continue the conversation and ask for like recommendations, like I posted the link to our Discord server, you can jump in there, ask the question there, and we'll give you some recommendations in a list form, so you're not having to write them down as I'm saying them, and it can kind of point you in the right direction. Yeah, Tannen, hey, you like that hoodie? Thank you. I like this hoodie too, and I like that you popped in to say hello. I'm just rambling here for a little bit. I'm gonna be I keep saying I'm gonna wrap up, but Tannen, if everybody doesn't know, is one of the OG Lorcana commentators at DLCs, and is the only reason any of us from season 1 are any good, because he not only was a wonderful presence on the DLC broadcast in season 1, but mentored a lot of us and took us under his wing, and is one of the people that I owe so much to in the Lorcana space because of the time that he took to teach me things. And I appreciate Tannen very much. So thank you. And I think he still lives in Austin, which is one of the coolest cities. I don't know, Tannen, if you're still here in Austin, but we should hang out sometime. Yeah, we're both busy, but we should hang out sometime. Yeah, let's see. There's not even a list. As far as I'm aware, there's not even a list to go through. Yeah, Discord's weird. There's not like a list of Discord servers. Like to find them is kind of weird. You have to stumble upon the link. But yeah, send me a note and I can send you some recommendations depending on what you're looking for and where you're located, and we can get you plugged into a community. One place to start, by the way, is the official Disney Lorcana Discord server. That's a great place to hang. It's just a very, very, very busy because there are a lot of people in there. So you have to you can't keep up with everything going on in the threads because there's a lot of people in there. So, but that's another place you can go. RVA, yeah. Wait, what's RVA? RVA. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what RVA is, G3BO, but full-time mom here, not trying to be the best ever, just want to be good. I appreciate you so much. Being a Lorcana player as a parent, especially a parent of young kids, is so difficult. And this is a tangent, but as I go through the comments, but we all fall in this trap of because we see the best competitive players and we see all the time they put in and we see how much people grind, and we fall in this trap of thinking with any hobby, but Lorcana is one of them, that we can't enjoy the hobby unless we're on that level and able to compete at that level and all of that. But this game is meant for everyone. Even, I work a 9-to-5 job. I have a toddler, and other responsibilities. I do content on the side, and so like I can't enjoy the game or play the game as much as a lot of the best players either, and I'm not the best player. But like seeing people willing to engage with the game wherever they're at in life and with how much time they have, however much time they have available, like in life, is super refreshing. And I wish more people would feel empowered to do that. So all that is to say, I appreciate you and I see you, and I want to help you as much as possible to connect with the content creators and the communities that you feel will enable you to enjoy the game with wherever you're at in life. So let me know how I can help, because yeah, it's good. You're back in Baton Rouge, says Tannen. Sad face. Well, come visit Austin on some weekend. Or maybe I'll try to visit next time I'm in Baton Rouge, because I was actually there fairly recently because my in-laws live there, or part-time live there. So, but I miss you, Tannen, very much, and you're welcome to jump on our stream anytime and hang out, because I love you, man. All right, Z Gaming says locals are a great starting point. LGS Discords, local teams, Locana Discords. That's how our Discord started. If you're not in an area with an LGS close by, I'd suggest a Facebook group or 20 lore to start. All good suggestions. Definitely locals. Okay, I get it. RVA local, got it. Okay, Richmond, Virginia. Richmond's not the DMV area, but there's got to be a Discord server out there. Actually, Z Gaming, aren't you? How close are you to the geography of that part of the country? Sometimes in like that middle part, like messes me up. But aren't you all? You're not too far from Richmond, right? Like North Carolina. I don't know. Let me know. Only so many hours in the day, says Eric. 100%. Only so many hours, only so much time, only so much money. We all engage with the game. Yeah. So, yeah, Z Gaming, post the link to your Discord here. Feel free. Like, I know you just said you don't want to post links to the Discord, or you don't want to post links in my stream. This is happening on YouTube in case you're watching on Twitch, but, yeah, go ahead and post the link. And I can cross post it, because I do think your community is wonderful. And so if there's anybody, on the, where are you, Z Gaming? It's like the East, like North Carolina area. It's a great regional / team focused Discord, and hanging out there it's a good place to be. So yes, you're 3 hours from Richmond. Yeah. Okay. So that's one place you can start there, G3PO. The Uninkables and Z Gaming are a great Discord server and a great group of folks. Lower key Discord server, but they're super supportive and they're working on some content. So that's a good community to plug into, and I appreciate them very much. So that's one place where you can start. And Z Gaming and the rest of the team and folks in that server can definitely help you. They're like 3 hours from Richmond, it sounds like, but definitely in that region. So that's good. So... Fairy Quinting, have a good night. Another late night for you, waiting for stuff off the AP, I assume. But I appreciate you hanging out with us all night long. And if you're not, I think you're a mod. If you're not a mod, I'm going to make you a mod, because you're too awesome to not be a mod. But thanks for hanging out with us, or with me, and everybody in the stream, and Katie, all night. So Richmond has a Discord, says G3P. Okay, good. That's good. Good. It's great, mostly a group of friends, 'cause we're a small place. Should have seen it pop up when DLC Richmond was announced. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. I know, it's a random other thought, again, as I once again say I'm gonna get close to wrapping, but I know there was a lot of flack when all of the DLCs were located like in kind of the northeastern part of the country, but and it's true, and I wish there were more DLCs in like Texas this season on the West Coast. Like West Coast, I see you. 100% agree. Canada, I see you. 100%. I wish there were DLCs out that way. But Even though they're all kind of like within the scope of the United States, kind of in the same-ish area. I do think we forget sometimes there's a lot of people who aren't even able to travel more than a few hours, like driving distance from their home. And I met so many people this weekend who were at their very first DLC because it was in Richmond and they were like a couple hours from their house. So many Richmond locals at the DLC, so many people from 1 to 2 hours away, who probably can't travel further than that. So I guess what I'm saying is, even though they're not as geographically dispersed as we would like them, there are parts of the country who are clearly left out. It is nice to see them in new locations this year, and it makes me so happy when I get to see families from like, the city that the DLC is in attend because it's in that city. And so it was a wonderful experience getting to hang out with the Richmond community and all of you Richmond folks this weekend, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very much. So, okay, NC area invited folks from outside the meet cross paths was absolutely like me. I appreciate hanging out in the Uninkables Discord server because you all are wonderful. And yes, you all have CCQs. That is true. California getting some CCQs and some other places, which is super nice. One thing I will say as I get close to wrapping up, again, this weekend, if you're in the Florida area, I know a lot of folks are heading to the Festival of the Arts, and I'm not going to convince you not to go there because it sounds amazing. But if you're in Florida and you're not going to the Festival of the Arts, or you want to play in another Lorcana tournament that's not said champs, or you just want to hang out with some cool folks, Miami TCGCon this weekend will have multiple Lorcana and Disney artists, including Nicholas Cole and the Bancroft brothers, Disney animators, as well as Peter Raimondo. The Bancroft brothers each have Disney Lorcana cards as well. They will be in Miami signing, sketching cards. There'll be a bunch of vendors down there as well. And a Lorcana tournament. I know the pricing for the Lorcana tournament seems kind of lackluster if you've looked at it. It's like boxes of Rainer Jafar and stuff. I get it. But if I can entice you two different ways. One is the winners of the Miami TCGCon event always gets a playmat that is sketched by all of the artists in attendance. So you can get a playmat that is sketched by the Bancroft brothers and Peter Raimondo and Nicholas Cole, as well as Kendall Hale and Juan Diego Leon and the other Lorcana artists, which is super cool. And it's kind of a trophy that's worth quite a bit, actually, and is one of a kind thing. So you can compete for that. And if that doesn't interest you, or you want another bit of enticement, unless I'm mistaken and it fell through, the tournament will be streamed. And so your matches, if you're on a feature match, will be recorded, and Baker and I will be down there commentating. So Lorcana Villain will be there as well, and you can have your match commentated by him, and meet him and hang out with him and buy some of his merch. So if you are driving distance from Miami, or you want to do something crazy and jump on a flight last minute, Miami TCGCon should be a fun little Lorcana hangout this weekend, and I will be there, and that should be fun. I will also offer, if you're not going and you want either some of Lorcana Villain's merch, or you would like a card signed or sketched by one of the artists in attendance, send me a note, and I will try to proxy buy for you. Yeah, I don't know how much autographs and how much sketches are going to be yet. Pricing, they'll have that all figured out there. But if you want something from there, please send me a note. Let me know. But probably create a channel in the Discord server if anybody wants to take advantage of that, and I'll do my best to hook people up. Yeah. So there's that. Also, if you are not going to Miami TCGCon and you are going to Festival of the Arts, as I know a lot of you are, I would love to see pictures from this weekend. So as you're doing your thing, please, whether privately, post and tag me or send me photos from this weekend. I would love to see what's going on there, what it's like, because it sounds amazing, and I kind of want to live vicariously through you, and maybe share some of your pictures and stuff. So let me know if you're going to be there. And other than that, any last minute questions, because it is getting towards bedtime. Any last minute questions about content, about Lorcana, about the challenge? I'm not seeing any. Well, in that case, huge thank you to all of you hanging out here tonight. I see 215 people across the various platforms. I can't tell how many people are where, but I appreciate all of you for hanging out. I appreciate all of you who followed or subscribed tonight, especially Harley, if you're still here. Thanks for the 5 gifted subs. Super cool. Apparently I had a sub goal, which I didn't know I had, but I appreciate you all for that. Make sure you, if you're not following, subscribe and do all that stuff. But also, we'll be back next Monday night. I'm going to try to get Sky on, I think is going to be our goal, to have him and talk to him. Hey, Reginald, you made it at the end. Yeah, I'm doing the thank yous and stuff. But thanks for hopping in anyway. I was going to say next Monday, I think we're going to have Sky on. That's our goal anyway. So he hasn't agreed yet, but I'm going to keep asking him. And we're going to do that next Monday. If there's anybody you want to see on Monday night, send me a note, let me know. We'll try to make that happen. But we'll be back Monday night talking about all things Lorcana, and we'll be very, very close to Winter Spell reveals, so that'll be exciting. All the news will probably drop Tuesday. It's what always happens is we get all the news Tuesday morning, and I don't know, Monday night is predictions and all that. So yeah. And let's come comments. Scotty Gaidos, hello from Austin, Texas. Always a pleasure, Liam. I'm sure you're saying that because you know I'm in Austin, Texas right now. But if you don't, I'm also in Austin, Texas. But I'm sure you knew that. But yeah, hello. Always a pleasure. Thanks for stopping by. And Z Gaming, yeah, pleasure to make it to a stream. Thanks for, yeah, I appreciate you as well. Thanks for stopping by the random stream. I don't do them terribly often, but I'll try to do more. And Z Gaming also, when you get your videos done, if you get them up this weekend or whenever you get them done, the ones you're talking about releasing, let me know because I want to amplify them and I will share those as well because I really want to see those. With that, thanks again for the subs. Thanks again for the follows. Thanks again for all the things. Yeah, I know. I knew you knew. Otherwise, why say it? Hey, Scotty. Random thing though for all my Austin folks. I have this pipe dream. Like the studio's really crowded right now, but I have this pipe dream of actually turning this table and doing like lounge chairs and like actually having like a podcast setup where guests can come in and hang out. So who knows if I get that set up and you're in Austin, maybe we can do a live show like live. That'd be super fun. With all my Austin folks coming by for a visit. But all right, I'm going to figure out. Sorry. So if you're here on Twitch, you got to do me a favor real quick before I go. This is how you get me off and go to bed. All 12 of you. I've been told that rating is a thing that I need to do to help other people. And I want to do it. I'm just really bad at it. So I need to raid a stream, even if all of you are getting off. It's good etiquette. And I need to find a stream to raid. So Scotty goes, yeah. So I need to find a Lorcana stream to raid. Who is streaming right now? How do let's see. Who is like Lorcana streaming? Somebody's got to be doing it. Let's see. You got to help me find someone. Let's see. Disney Lorcana. All right, there's 27 people. So and some of that's me. Oh, Vox Lorcana's live. All right. Yeah. I got it. You all will love this. Did that work? Y'all, let me know if that worked. Trying to get the raid going here, and then we'll call it a night. But I really want to raid Vox Lorcana because I see they're live. But I feel like I'm doing it wrong. I'm really bad at this. There's a button somewhere, right? That's like a raid button. I always type it in the chat and I always do it wrong. Let's see. If you're just joining us, I'm trying to do a raid to a really, really cool channel that I love. And I am doing it wrong. So, y'all have to bear with me so I can get this going. Vox Lorcana. Yeah, all right. We're going to go to Vox Lorcana. They're awesome. You all will love it. Thank you all so much. If you're watching on Twitch, there we go. All right. Everybody else, thanks so much for hanging out. I will see y'all later. Thanks for everything.